citizenship, and we are up and running on YouTube. Hi, everybody. Teresa will join us in just a matter of minutes. Artemis 2 is set to get underway in literally 24 hours and 21 minutes. So what are we going to do tomorrow when it takes off at 3:24? Can we eavesdrop live on the whole launch?
I'm pretty sure I could find the launch, yeah.
And go, could we even go into the break? Because 6 minutes, is that long enough?
During the 30, yeah.
6 minutes? By 6 minutes, will they be in space?
That's a good question.
I think so. This is a remarkable trip in as much as I believe. Have you ever seen First Contact?
Yes.
Star Trek movie?
Yes.
Where they follow the Borg back in time and they go back to the first warp speed launch. The setting in First Contact is a Star Trek movie with the Picard captain, not Kirk. And the point of the story is they go through a time warp and go back in time following the Borg, who is going back in time to assimilate Earth. So the Enterprise has to follow them, and they discover that what they're trying to do is ruin First Contact. Because at this time, in the early, right around now, I believe it's set, no, I think it's later in the 21st century, like late 21st century. The setting is there's been a nuclear explosion, which I believe is going to happen at some point, as I've talked about, but that's beside the point. And now the world is rebuilding, and there's this mad scientist, Cochrane, who appears in many episodes of the original Star Trek, is the first guy to do warp speed. And why that's significant is the Vulcans see that and realize that Earth has advanced, so they come to Earth, and that's called First Contact, hence the name of the movie, and that's the beginning of deep space adventure. Now, why would I take the first 6 minutes of my show to talk about a stupid motion picture? Because I believe this is exactly what this is about. I really, really do. And this is no tin hat conspiracy. This is the beginning. This is the launch. This is the genesis of deep space travel. They're going on a 10-day mission, 4 astronauts, 3 men, 1 woman, 1 brother, and they are going on a 10-day mission. They'll be flying 6,000 miles above the moon as they orbit it. They're not landing, but they are the launch of the beginning of a space station on the moon, which will then propel us to deep space adventure, namely Mars is the first destination. And let's find out just how long, because it takes like years. Hey Siri, what is travel time from the moon to Mars?
Most estimates put the travel time in the range of 150 to 300 days. That's 5 to 10 months.
So 10 months travel time to Mars. That's not bad. I thought it was years. That's not bad. 10 months. And from there, I truly believe that in 100 years, we'll be bouncing around the stars. I really, honestly believe that. I don't think that's, crazy thought. I think that's just the natural progression. And if I had been on the radio in the 1940s and said one day we're going to travel to the moon, I'd have been thought to be just as insane. So I think this is a really important. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I've got some facts and figures on the astronauts that are interesting folks. And what else is going on? Tiger Woods, that story has been advanced. They have released the affidavit, and obviously everyone has pounced on it. They found 2 hydrocodones in Tiger's right pocket. They said that he failed a field sobriety test. I'll get into some of the details of that. And air travel is getting back to normal. Should have gone to Texas, Chris. No, not really.
Nah.
No, she ended up, it's gotten even worse.
Really?
Yeah, we're not even talking.
Well.
We're not even talking. It's just weird how I knew somebody, I hung out with somebody about literally 20 years ago. She was in her late 20s. So I was in my late 40s, and I could get away with it when I was in my 40s because I looked 30. So it was never a deal. She never really even asked me about my age. It just was never a deal. And then she got a job in Houston. She's a traveling nurse, and then now she's ended up at Corpus Christi. And somehow she reached out to me on Facebook. I think she saw Honor, that was before Honor Flight, some picture that I posted. I think it was a guest we were having on, and I posted a picture on Facebook, and she hit me up and said, "Is this Ralph Bailey? The Ralph Bailey?" I thought it was a listener, and it was an old friend, and we started reconnecting and put a bop, but a bit, but a boop, and next thing you know, I got invited to go to Corpus Christi, and I've got some vacation time coming, and it's Easter, and I'm flush right now, although that's not going to last long. 15 days, Chris. And I find my fade out on Monday when I go see Marquez and Marquez, the best accountant in town. He's located right on the corner of 18th and Oak. But yeah, I think I'm going to take a beating this year. It was 15. It was 15 hun last year to Fed, 500 to state, and I think I'm going to get a hit. I don't know, just as hard, if not harder. But I thought about going to Texas. I got a decent flight. I got a $650 flight from Dallas to Corpus Christi. And I got an Airbnb for like $350 for like 4 nights, which is unbelievable. And we were all set to go. And I started having second thoughts, and she got mad because I was having second thoughts, and it just didn't go very well. I have no idea why I'm sharing this information with you. It has nothing to do with the show or anything that y'all give a doggone about, actually. But I just thought I would ramble just a little bit about that. And a horrible day for Donald Trump. In the 5, we'll talk about, or maybe a little bit earlier, the Judge Leon, has stopped construction of the ballroom and says, you got to get that through Congress, dude. You don't own that place. You live there, but you don't own it. You can't just be tearing down buildings and building lavish balls. If Congress says, okay, I'm good with it. Now, obviously, they're going to appeal. We'll talk about that at some point. And we got some audio to play. You'll hear Francis Ford Coppola at some point talking about how he hired Marlon Brando. It's an interesting story. I'm sure many of you have heard it, but I just caught it last night. I thought I'd play that for you. And there's some other miscellaneous news and notes we'll get to, but we begin with the bad news for the president, as now the New York Post is reporting that the president is saying we will be out of Iran soon, which is just another mixed message. Although the stock market loved it, it rebounded. It was doing poorly this morning. And then he made this comment to the New York Post, and bing, bang, bong, it's back up today. We'll take a look at it I guess we'll take a look at it sometime. But he's saying that we could leave without dealing with the Strait of Hormuz. Now, ardent listeners are saying, well, Ralph, you lied to us. No. I attributed it. I completely attributed it to, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. And now I wish I had played the audio where Rubio stated yesterday, one way or another, the Strait of Hormuz will be open. Now, I suppose he could defend his statement because what the president is demanding is that NATO countries open it up. They're on their own. You want to hear what he wrote today? This is amazing. And now I'm starting to get scared because it seems to me there is no rhyme or reason for anything they're doing right now, whether it's in the State Department, whether it's at the Pentagon, whether it's the White House. There's absolutely no rhyme or reason for what they're doing. There's no real sense of what is success. There was talk of going and getting the enriched uranium. Now they're talking about we'll be out soon, which I don't have a problem with. Don't get me wrong. But here's what the president had to say to NATO today. To all of these countries that can't get to fuel because of the Strait of Hormuz, like the United Kingdom, which refused to get involved in the decapitation of Iran, I have a suggestion for you. Number one, who talks to, anyway, never mind. Number one, buy from the United States. We have plenty. Number two, build up some delayed courage. Go to the Strait and just take it. In capital letters, take it. This dude is starting to scare me. He really is. I think, and I'm not the first to say this, and I am reluctant to say it because it's mostly Democrats that are saying this, but I think Venezuela went to his head. I think Venezuela was so easy that he thinks that's how it works. And so now he's got us embroiled in this, and he has no way to get out, and this is his out. Blame NATO. You'll have to start learning how to fight for yourself. The USA won't be there to help anymore, just like you weren't there for us. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done. Go get your own oil. President DJT. There are so many problems with that. So now we're in a fight with NATO. We're not only in a fight with the Middle East, but we're in a fight with NATO countries, Western Europe, essentially. And as most of you know, I've been one who has applauded the president for demanding that NATO step up, that we are not only the world's policeman, we're certainly the overseer of Western Europe. I mean, how many times can we bail you out, Western Europe? How many times can we go across the Atlantic and come to your aid? Now, that's a far reach from where the president is, like a petulant child screaming at them because you didn't help me, so we're not going to help you. It's ridiculous. But it is what it is. And so at least, I suppose, talk of sending troops in and getting the uranium are over. And mining and fighting the Strait of Hormuz apparently is over. Talk of Karg Island, I suppose, is over. Don't forget, however, he's still got this alleged April 6th deadline. I at this point, I'm just going to sit back and watch and just remark when it's all over, because I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what they're trying to do. I don't know what they're trying to get out. I don't know if they want to try to deal with somebody. They're dealing with this head of the parliament, or head of this parliament. But I'm hearing from pundits last night that this guy's a figurehead, that this is the guy that the IRGC puts ahead as the, more affable, the more agreeable, the more willing to compromise, while the IRGC is like, no, we're armed and ready. And we're not going to stop extorting and exporting terrorism. That ain't happening. We'll see. I just can't. I cannot figure it out. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the day. And when we come back, where am I? Not only did the Trump administration get bad news in terms of his ballroom, but there are new numbers out, staggering approval rating numbers, meaning unless something incredibly dramatic occurs between now and November, it's going to be a bloodbath. The midterms are going to be a bloodbath. And I think last night on television, the president kind of admitted that. I'll tell you what he said, and I'll give you the numbers when we come back. And then we'll talk birthright citizenship with our judge, Teresa Goldner, at the bottom of the hour. We'll get into the latest with Tiger Woods and countdown almost to the minute, 24 hours before Artemis 2, a rocket larger than the Statue of Liberty, set to take off, headed for the moon tomorrow. 80% good weather. So it's a go. It is a go. Quick time out, just getting started on a Tuesday. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 at AM 1180, KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Newstalk 96.1 and AM.
Casey.
Getty Show, the Secretary of War says the coming days will be decisive. Plus, Trump lets Cuba off the hook. Why?
And I have a feeling we'll know more about this scandal story with Kristi Noem and her husband. Have you checked out the pictures at ArmstrongandGetty.com?
No, don't do it.
Oh, my God. We'll have the latest tomorrow on the next Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Had dinner last night at my favorite restaurant, KC Steakhouse, with our engineer Rusty, and ran into a couple of listeners, Janet and Luann. Thank you for the cocktail. And thank you for headed to F Street and headed to the best steakhouse in all of Kern County. And don't forget about the Stockyard next door. Opens up on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights with live music, craft cocktails, a banquet room for whatever event you may have going on, a lunch meeting, an election night party, a birthday party, whatever. It's a beautiful banquet room that Cassie's built next door. Say hi to Haley. She's bartending in there. You can have dinner in there as well. And of course, Jimmy and Bobby providing live music Tuesday through Saturday in the main restaurant. And again, it's not just a steakhouse. Chef Daniel has done wonders over the last 5 to 10 years, just advancing the menu with different fish dishes. Last night I had the Ralph Bailey. I had the chicken with baked potato. So Ralph, it's KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here for King Door Company. I had my garage door installed over 20 years ago and it still works like the day it was installed. So I know all about King Door's quality products. But let's talk service. At King Door Company, it's an obsession. Whether you're having your garage door installed, serviced, or repaired, you can count on King Door Company to do it right. And it all starts with training. All King Door techs have been through the King Door Academy, an on-site training center where technicians study the very latest in garage door technology so that when they show up at your house, they have all the experience and product knowledge they need to take care of your garage door. They really are the state of the art. And when you pair that expertise with King Door's legendary customer service, you get a service experience that can't be beat. So whether you need a new garage door or just service on an existing door, regardless of who built or installed it, count on the pros at King Door to do the job right. Just call 397-2744 or check them out online at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, the company with the pride of a lion.
Oil isn't the only resource hit hard by global events. American farmers are sounding the alarm by fertilizer prices at planting season. Will this disrupt our food supply, raising prices, cause shortages? I'm not waiting to find out, and neither should you. Go to mypatriotsupply.com, get a 3-month emergency food supply. They'll include $200 worth of extra survival protein absolutely free. After serving more than 3 million American families since 2008, you can trust mypatriotsupply.com. Go to mypatriotsupply.com.
It's tax time, y'all. If you want to file free, this next one's for you.
Now taxes is so free. Terrible tax. Free edition only. Roughly 37% of filings qualify. Simple form to 40 returns only. Now this is tax.
Love that jam. Up next, commercials.
And to get TurboTax free edition, see if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hi, my name is Captain Donna Zero, and I'm a patriot. And I'm encouraging you to please donate to this wonderful, wonderful memorial and the museum. It is something that is to the heart of every one of us that served in uniform. Please do your best to support this. It means you're a good American. Thank you so much.
That is Donna C. Rowe. If you aren't with us Friday, go back on YouTube and watch our interview with her. She was at the Portrait of a Warrior Gallery on Saturday and telling her incredible Vietnam story. She's 83 years old. She has a great, not only war story, but a great love story where she met her husband and they traveled to Vietnam together, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to ruin it for you. If you didn't hear the interview, go back to Friday's show and listen to that, or go by the Portrait of a Warrior Gallery. If you have not taken your children there, you're doing them a disservice. You really are. If you haven't gone yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice. You really are. In the meantime, I apologize to Cassie Biddle for destroying her commercial right there, our live spot. But I had to take that phone call. It was from Dr. Cothry's office, my general practitioner. And I finally got my referral. I'm going to see a dermatologist of all people to finally get, for those that are watching on YouTube, and this is why you should subscribe, because you miss a lot of what goes on in the show. But as you all can see, as you're looking onto what from your angle is your left, my right, a large hematoma on my right forehead that it's a trip now to leaf through old pictures and kind of watch it grow. Like it started off like almost like a pimple, like just a little tiny little bump on my forehead. And as I scroll through the pictures and through the years, it started like 4 years ago. And through the pictures and through the years, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think it's maxed out now, but I'm going to be doing some TV work, and we're doing essentially TV work 5 days a week. And, I'm an old man. I don't care what I look like anymore. I really, really don't. I try to keep myself up and look decent. But I mean, in terms of like getting like plastic surgery or my face tightened or something, no. I got like 15, 20, 25 years tops left on this planet. You think I'm going to mess with my face at this point? You think it's going to matter socially? But this bump, though, has been it's annoying. I look like a unicorn who had his horn snubbed off and they just didn't get it all. And so finally, I'm going to go see a dermatologist. I would have thought I would have seen a plastic surgeon.
No, dermatologist makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, skin-based stuff. It's probably just some sort of
it's just a hematoma. From what I understand, it's just a tiny little incision, and then they just kind of suck it out. So
then you're fine.
Yeah. And then, you want to hear another medical thing?
Sure.
And I don't know if this is wise, but I received a text from the company where I did my MRI, and I'll just read you the text. I have not opened it, but I just got this at 8:00 this morning, and it reads, where did I get the, please stand by. Hi, Ralph. To access your results, please go to this link. Should I click on it live on air?
Absolutely not.
Why? What's worst case scenario? You have cancer, you're going to die? I mean, even if it says you've got cancer, we caught it early, and radiation or whatever.
I don't touch random text message links.
It's from the company. It's from the company that I did the MRI from.
If it's verified from the company, then you should.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's definitely from RadNet. It's definitely from them. What could it possibly say? I'm assuming it's going to have statistics or numbers that I don't understand.
Probably. Or just in big block letters, it says you do or do not have cancer.
Should I wait for Cothry to call me? Why hasn't Cothry called me? I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do, y'all. I'll ask the judge. Teresa Goldner joins us next. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump says securing the Strait of Hormuz is not for us. It estimated that the U.S. will be done attacking Iran in 2 to 3 weeks. Trump made the comments Tuesday to reporters. He said the U.S., quote, will not have anything to do with what happens in the strait, instead telling reporters that the responsibility for keeping the vital waterway open will rest with countries that rely on it. A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to suspend construction of a $400 million ballroom after it demolished the east wing of the White House. U.S. District Judge Richard Leon in Washington granted a preservationist group's request for a preliminary injunction that temporarily halts President Trump's White House ballroom project. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 1,125 points. This is SRN News.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. Victor Farias was a no-show for his first court hearing Monday on first-degree murder charges in the death last week of Yolanda Rojo at a house on College Avenue. The court says medical reasons. That hearing, which is his arraignment, is rescheduled for Wednesday. The Bakersfield Marathon for 2027 has already been announced. That'll be April 4th next year. The organizers say more than 5,000 people ran or walked the routes this year, And they expect a bigger crowd next time around with some new courses for the 10th marathon. Jennifer Feige has been appointed a new Kern County Superior Court judge to replace Judge Elizabeth Rodriguez, who resigned recently. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore, and every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
It's the JR Show.
Here's my thing. I don't need to shake your hand. I don't need to have dinner with you once a month. I don't need to take pictures at whatever function we go to. I don't need to call you my friend. No, what I need for you to do is play by the rules and do your job. At least some of us in this town will still call people out and hold them accountable.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
It's a Tuesday. The dancing judge is live in studio. Teresa Goldner. Before we get going, we've got to address what everybody is all curious about.
What's that? Hi, Ralph.
I'm sorry, Teresa. I always forget the salutations because we speak during the break, so it's not like I'm seeing you for the first time.
And you can call me Terry. It's okay.
But how cool is that, Chris, that she has no idea what I'm referring to?
No, I know.
That her life is so full that
she hasn't brought it up once.
A trip to China is just like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. I'm going to China. Really me. I've got so much going on. I got the Brooklyn Heights place in New York. I've got to go to Chile next month, and we're going to Brazil the following month. And I totally forgot about my little sojourn to Beijing.
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
My life is
I'm
not
going to Dodger Stadium in 2 weeks, and I can't stop thinking about it. Good googly moogly.
Well, that sounds like an exciting trip.
Doggone Skippy.
On Jackie Robinson Day.
Jackie
Right?
Robinson Day.
I mean,
Doggone Skippy.
Does it get any more exciting
Oh, I
than
didn't
that?
put up my bobbleheads. I was about to reach for Jackie.
Where is Jackie?
He's right down there. I forgot to put my bobbleheads up today.
Oh.
But
Well, hi.
hi. So, how long has this trip been planned? Whose idea was this? You or Barry?
Well, we're going with another couple, 2 friends, married couple, and the wife is actually from China.
Really?
So that'll be kind of fun. But we're not just going to China. We're going to a couple places.
You may think this is a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is she Chinese?
Well, yes, she is.
She doesn't necessarily have to be from Chinese to be from China.
I think she is. I'm pretty sure she is.
Okay. All right.
I haven't actually sat down and said, "Are you from China?"
What's her maiden name?
I don't know what her maiden name is.
Okay. Well, anyway, so it was their idea, and you kind of just said, "Let's go."
You know what? We travel with some other couples. From time to time, we have friends that like to travel, and so it's really fun when you go as 2 couples or 3 couples. And in fact, one of our best traveling mates that we met, another couple, we met because of a guy from Bakersfield who owns a hotel, like I guess it is a hotel in Dingle, Ireland. And he has this thing that he does every year. I don't know if he still does it, but I think he did for a long, long time, called the Dingle Dangle. And he invites.
I was going to guess the Dingle Mingle.
The Dingle. Oh, that would have been a good one.
That's what I was headed. I thought that's where you're headed.
He calls it the Dingle Dangle, and he invites a bunch of people from Bakersfield to come, and he lets you, and you stay at his place at the hotel, And I think there was enough room for 14 people. We went once and it was so much fun. And we met all these people from Bakersfield. And we also met a couple from Los Angeles who was there. And we were actually the 4 oldest people on this trip. There's a lot of pub crawls going on and stuff like that during the trip. And we just became really good friends. And so we've gone traveling with them several times.
All right. So I want to
hear fun.
I want to hear about China.
China.
So where are we going?
We are going to.
What's our first stop?
Our first stop is Hong Kong.
Good choice.
And then we're going to Japan. And then we're going to China. And then we're going back to Hong Kong. And then we're going to the United States. Going home. So it'll be fun. But the interesting part is, did you know?
It's so amazing to me. You spend on a vacation what I make in a year.
I don't think that's true.
I think so.
I think you make the big bucks, Ralph. You're just not going to tell anybody.
No. I make the bucks, but they ain't big.
But there's this thing in
Hong Kong, Japan, then back to Hong Kong, and then
China. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's the way we're doing it. But
wait. Hong Kong, Japan, then Beijing?
Yes.
And then Hong Kong.
And then several places in China. And then we're going back to Hong Kong before we leave.
Okay.
So I think that's the order of things. It switched around a little bit. Part of the trip was, you'll like this, we were supposed to take a boat tour in Cambodia, but they decided that it was too dangerous.
I was going to suggest that. I was like, what?
We had to cancel it. So
Cambodia?
that's Cambodia.
Right now?
I know. What was I thinking?
Good Google.
But China, do you know that if you stay in China for less than 10 days, and China is sort of your middle stay, if it's a stopover from one country to another, you can get a 10-day visa just like that. And you don't even have to apply for it ahead of time. You just go to China, you show them your ticket on your way in and your way out, and you can stay there for 240 hours. So we're not going to be there for a long, long time because we didn't get, tourist visas before we're leaving. We're just going. So I'm really excited about that, but I had to learn about stuff like what not to do when you're in China.
Oh, Lord.
I actually looked it up because I didn't know if we were going to talk about it or not.
I wouldn't speak ill of the government.
Well, actually, that's number 7. It's the top 10 things not to do in China. And I went to different websites and kind of put it all together. That's number 7 on the list. Don't talk politics.
Really?
That's one of them. Another one is...
No religion?
No religion. One of them is... When you cheer somebody, when you make a cheer and you make a toast, don't ever clink your glass above somebody else's glass because that's a sign of disrespect. You're supposed to have your glass lower than theirs when you do it. Isn't that interesting?
Okay.
Another one is don't give anybody any gifts of clocks or sharp objects because what that means, the word clock in Chinese sounds a lot like death. And it's considered a knife or scissors is considered you want to terminate your relationship with them, and it's considered bad luck to give them a gift like that.
I've never heard of anyone giving a clock as a gift.
Well, or a watch, anything like that.
Watches are common gifts.
Yeah, but not in China, apparently. So
Isn't there a difference between a watch and a clock?
I don't.
That's a clock.
Clock's on the wall.
That's a clock.
Clock's on the wall. Clock's on the floor. Clock's on the desk.
But you wear a watch. You don't wear a clock.
That's true. Another one is you'll like this one. Don't stick your chopsticks in your rice when you leave your restaurant. You can't just leave it in there. You're supposed to put it across your bowl. You know why that is?
Because the Chinese have a bug up their butts. Good Google it.
Well, the reason is supposedly because it resembles when you leave it upright in the rice.
Yeah.
It resembles the incense that they burn in their temples, and that's considered disrespectful. It's also considered something that harkens back to funerals and mourning. Again, it's associated with death. So it's not something that you're supposed to do.
Okay.
Another one is, I was told, don't order water with ice in China. And they usually don't serve water with ice in China. And the reason why you're not supposed to do that is because in Chinese medicine, they believe that cold water disrupts a body's balance, and therefore it's considered unhealthy. So if you're going to have water, just drink it room temperature.
That's cockamamie nonsense.
I'm just telling you. Another one is avoid the number 4 in Chinese because the word 4 in Chinese sounds like the word death in Chinese. Considered bad luck. It's considered an unlucky number. You're not supposed to stay in room number 4. Some hotels don't even label the 4th floor in a hotel. And I also read that any type of property that has an address with the number 4 in it, usually those properties are cheaper because there's lower demand because it's considered unlucky. Kind of interesting. And the last
Hang
one.
on. You guys know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Wait.
Like a third of our audience is aware of where I'm about to go. What do you do when you play golf?
Well, that I wouldn't know because I don't play golf.
Do you know what happens when you hit a ball towards somebody?
You say 4, right?
Exactly.
You tell them get out of the way.
So what do you do?
Get
out of the way!
Well, that's not the number 4. That's FORE, right? In golf.
So is there a difference in China?
Well, when you talk about the number 4, that's the one that sounds like death.
But you could yell 4 on a golf course because you're saying FORE.
Right, because you're not talking, I'm just surmising here, because you're not talking about the number 4.
Okay. All right.
And then the last one, you'll like this one.
Sorry.
You're not supposed to wear.
She didn't hear that.
Yeah, I heard it. I just I like to ignore you sometimes.
Okay,
You know.
very good.
The last one is don't wear a green hat.
Don't wear a green hat.
Yes. And why do you think that is? You'll never, ever guess this, Ralph.
They hate the Irish.
Nope.
I have no idea why you can't wear a
If
green
you
hat.
wear a green hat, it symbolizes that your spouse or your partner is cheating on you. So you're not supposed to wear one in public.
Okay.
I'm going to look and see if they even sell green hats there. I wouldn't think that they would, but you're not supposed to wear it anyway. So there's a lot of things like that.
That's
So
interesting.
I'm getting ready to go.
I don't think you have to worry about any of those things. You don't seem like the type that would stick your chopsticks in some rice.
Well, I never thought about it before.
I don't
know if
see you
did that.
donning a green chapeau.
I don't own a green hat. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
I
And
don't think you have to worry about it.
one of the websites was talking about don't wear anything that is Japanese or affiliated with Japan. I think that has to do with the politics. I'm not sure what that is, but
Very strange.
that's another thing that I'm not really going to worry about.
No. Are we ready to talk about birthright citizenship?
I am, but I also wanted to know, do you want to talk about the Tiger King guy?
Tiger King?
Joe Exotic. His case went to the Supreme Court and they refused to hear it.
I have absolutely
Today.
no idea what you're talking about.
You don't know who Tiger King is?
I have no idea.
Oh my goodness. Tiger King is a guy, his name is Joseph, I think his last name was kind of an Maldonado something. And he owned a exotic animal park, kind of a homegrown one.
Right.
And he got in trouble. He got convicted on, I think it was 22 counts in federal court in Oklahoma of conspiring or of a murder for hire plot. Plus, he also got convicted on several counts of shooting these animals. He shot and killed some of the tigers and he buried them on site, and he got in trouble for that too. So he ended up getting sentenced. Boy, he has a very interesting case. He ended up getting sentenced to, in 2019, to, I think it was 264 months. That's a long time. That's 22 years. And he ended up appealing this case. He's appealed it several times, but his final appeal went up to the Supreme Court and they refused to hear his appeal. So he is stuck in prison he's
Where
actually
he belongs.
Yeah, he's actually in a medical prison I think it's in Fort Worth, Texas right now. And he'll probably never get out of prison.
Good. How old is he?
I think he's in his 60s now.
Oh, good. Good. So he's going to die in prison.
His name is Joseph Maldonado Passage, Passage. And Tiger King was a series. I forget what channel it was on. It was a wild thing. You never heard about it?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Chris, have you heard of this?
Did you
I
ever watch
have
Tiger
never
King?
watched it. I think it was a Netflix show.
It was
during
crazy.
COVID.
Yeah.
I think it was during COVID.
I believe it was popular
Yeah.
during the COVID era.
My daughter told me about it, and I thought, well, that sounds really stupid. So I thought I'd watch it. And I watched it, and I was hooked on it. And I can't even explain to you why I was hooked on it.
What's the show?
He's just a very colorful character, and he also dresses like a cowboy, and he sings country western songs, and he's just kind of a crazy guy.
How are the tigers involved?
Well, because he ran this, began this animal park down there in Oklahoma, and he owned this park, and he brought in a bunch of tigers, and that was the main attraction to his park. And so he ended up, people could come in and pay money to see the tigers, and they would, be able to maybe pet the tigers, and it was just kind of crazy. And he
People
hired,
would be stupid enough to pet a tiger.
yeah, well, he hired a bunch of kind of crazy people that worked for him. I'll just say colorful people. There was probably some mental illness going on there.
You'd
made it
have
so
to be
crazy.
mentally ill to pet a tiger.
But he got into a feud with somebody named Carol Baskin, who was an animal activist who thought that he was abusing these animals. And so she ended up actually suing him. She got $1 million verdict against him. And supposedly that's the reason why he hired somebody to murder her. And that's why he ended up going to prison.
Oh, he whacked Carol Baskin?
He didn't. No, he didn't. She wasn't injured. Nothing happened. But supposedly the guy who was one of his zookeepers at his animal park got paid some money. And that person was the one that was supposed to kill Carol Baskin.
But he didn't, and he ratted him out.
Right. He ratted him out. There was also, I think, an undercover FBI agent that was involved in the plot. That was involved as part of the evidence at trial.
What's the charge of that? Attempted murder?
It was murder for hire. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was 2 counts of that. And then also the rest had to do with animal rights violations under the Endangered Species Act.
Why was he whacking the tigers?
Well, he claims that he shot them in the head because he said he was ethically euthanizing them because they were old, they were geriatric, they were ill, and it was the safest thing to do and the most, I guess, nicest thing to do. But the government disagreed. The federal prosecutors came in and said, no, it's very obvious why he did this. He needed to get cage space for the other tigers that he was bringing in that were newer and more healthy. And that's why he shot those old ones. So he claimed BS on that, but he, of course, went to a jury trial. He got busted because there were a lot of tape recordings, a lot of things that he said on the show, a lot of things that he said that were material for the show. He was getting paid. This was like a weekly series.
Yeah.
And he was getting paid for this colorful show. So he said a lot of colorful things on the air. He also had, there were some informants that worked for him. And then you had the undercover FBI agent that came in and testified. So he was convicted. It didn't take the jury too long, but he's going to be in there for a long time. He really tried hard. He tried to get President Trump the first time around to grant him a pardon. Didn't hear back. He tried to get President Biden to give him a pardon. He said no. And then again, last year and this year, he tried to get President Trump to give him a pardon, and it was a big fat no. And so today he got a big fat no from the Supreme Court, who said, no, we're not going to hear your appeal.
Good.
But that was it was really a wild case. I don't know if any of your listeners watched Tiger King, but interestingly, when he appealed, part of the reason why he appealed is he said that all of these witnesses that testified against him at trial, that they all recanted their testimony and that they wrote new affidavits. And they said the reason why they testified the way they did was they got pressure from the government. The government promised them, immunity or some type of deal. And that's the only reason why they testified the way they did. But the court was not convinced that that was enough. And so his appeals were denied.
Good.
Does that interest you at all?
You want the truth?
You're looking at me like, I don't want to talk about that.
Well, I just think birthright citizenship is more topical and much more interesting.
It is.
And you're right. Probably my listeners find it fascinating because they've seen the show. I had no idea what you were talking about until you brought it up.
Oh my gosh. Well, if anybody watched the show, let us know.
Yeah.
It was a while ago, but it was really a colorful show.
Yeah, I bet a lot of the listeners found that intriguing.
So birthright.
Just not the host.
And this is your show.
No, it is not. Bailey. This is your segment. This is your segment. If it was my show and I was that bombastic about it, I would have said, that's enough. Let's move on.
Well, I know you know.
No, this is your segment.
That's what you wanted to do. I could tell by the look on your
face. But I can't because this is your segment.
So what I was hoping that we could talk about is birthright citizenship.
Oh, what a great topic.
Birthright citizenship is going to the oral argument on that case
tomorrow morning.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to listen to it.
I am too, because Luigi's is depending on it.
Really?
Yes, we have a
Luigi's?
Did you hear this?
What? What is
she doesn't remember the bet. She's feigning amnesia.
What? Now, which way did you bet on that one?
I think that there's no way they cannot overturn this. It's in the doggone. You want me to read it to you? I wrote it down in my text message just so I could read it to you.
Okay.
Because I know you will go the other way on this. The United States Constitution reads,
yes,
all persons, I can't even read, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. And from what I heard this morning, the phrase, the subject to the jurisdiction thereof, is the focal point of this whole thing. Please explain.
That's right. Those are the 5 words that this case is all about. And it has to do with the issue before the court is who qualifies for citizenship under the 14th Amendment. And we're talking about the citizenship clause of the 14th Amendment. So President Trump issued an executive order last year to limit citizenship to people who citizenship at birth to children that are born to at least one United States citizen or a lawful permanent resident. That's his interpretation of that law. And most of the judges that have heard this case so far, because there's been a lot of district court judges, trial court judges that issued universal injunctions on this before the Supreme Court said you can't have universal injunctions.
Who all know how to read the Constitution, I'm assuming.
Right. And they all said the law
being
has been
sarcastic.
this way for 100 years. It means if you're born here, you're a citizen. If you touch the dirt, that's all it takes to be a citizen. And President Trump and his administration begged to differ. So,
Which began in the 19th century,
yes,
initially to protect the children of slaves, because the United States did not consider my ancestors who were brought over here against their will as citizens. But the question rose, and not because of slaves, because of a Chinese family.
yes,
The question was raised, what about slaves who are born here, but they don't have a soul? I don't think in the 1860s, white America thought African Americans had a soul.
well, it had to do, you're absolutely right, Ralph. It had to do with this particular clause was added to the 14th Amendment because to address something called the Dred Scott decision. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That's the one you're talking about.
Yes.
That's considered the worst case that the
In the
Supreme Court.
history, the biggest mistake they've ever made.
And so they wanted to fix it. And that's
Dred Scott
exactly,
was not a human being, essentially.
pretty much. And that's
Yeah.
why they wanted to correct it. They said they could never be a citizen. And other things, really terrible things.
Yeah.
The Dred Scott decision was an awful one.
It really was.
So they wanted to address that. And it's interesting in this case, both sides are relying on the other case that you're referring to. It's called United States versus Wong Kim Ark. It's an 1898 case. And it holds that a child who is born in the United States to lawful permanent residence was a citizen. But it's both sides are relying on that case. The one side that is opposing President Trump's executive order, you could say liberals perhaps, are saying that case stands for the proposition that if you're born in the United States, you're a citizen. Well, that's not really what that case says. It says if you were born to parents who were lawful permanent residents, then you can be a citizen. So that's why both of them are kind of glomming onto that case. And then after in 1866, one of the things that the Supreme Court is going to be doing, I think, when they review this whole issue, is they're going to look to the history. And they're going to look to what you talked about, the reasons for, enacting this amendment in the first place to get rid of the Dred Scott decision. They're going to be looking at the history of all of this. And I know you like history. And so one of the things that is very much evident in the pleadings that have been filed with the court, and there are dozens of amicus briefs, friends of the court briefs that have been filed with the court so far on this. This case, I think, is going to be the biggest Supreme Court case of our lifetime if Trump wins this case.
Oh, yes. If he
Absolutely.
wins.
Absolutely.
Lydia has never shot in hell.
I'm not so sure about that, Ralph.
I know. And
Not so sure.
that's why I'm going to start with the truffles. And then hopefully we go on a Thursday so I can have the salmon with a little white pasta on the side.
So, ready? What was the purpose of the 14th Amendment, this clause? To
establish the rights of African Americans who were brought here unwillfully and were not born here, but their children were.
Right.
And they need to be established as American citizens who do have souls and who later would be able to vote, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. To give the children of slaves citizenship.
Correct.
And to overturn the Dred Scott versus Sanford decision from 1857. That's the two purposes of it.
Correct.
So when you look at constitutional analysis, one of the first things that the judges always look at, especially at the Supreme Court, is history. And when you go back and you look at the historical record of when they actually adopted this, they actually had a debate on this very subject. What do those words subject to the jurisdiction of mean? And there were a lot of comments that were made. One of the comments was that it means that you have to have you have to be affiliated, you have to have full political allegiance to your country, to this country, to the United States. And that's why it's not just being born here, it's having an allegiance to it. And if you are born to foreign parents, then your citizenship is the citizenship of foreign parents. And it wasn't your foreign parents. It never was intended to go beyond what the reasons for it were in the first place. Now, there was Senator Howard, I think his first name is Lyman. He made some comments on the Senate floor, and that's exactly what he said. And in those comments, they also said, his name was Senator Jacob Howard, he's the one that introduced the citizenship clause. And he said explicitly that it was to exclude people who were foreign nationals, who were children of foreign nationals. So that means it excludes ambassadors' kids. And it was also intended to exclude Native Americans. Native Americans were not considered citizens under this particular clause. So, why was that? Because they belonged to their sovereign tribes rather than to the United States. So later on, Congress actually cured that by enacting another law that actually created citizenship for Native American citizens. So that's a part, I think that's kind of like an Achilles heel to the argument that people are making that no, it's if you're born on the dirt here, you're a citizen. That's it. Because otherwise, why would they have to enact a law? Why would Congress have to enact a law to allow Native Americans to become United States citizens? I mean,
because we have no idea where they were born.
They were born on this soil. These were people that were living here and their descendants.
They weren't born here. Native
Americans
Americans came here. Many of them came from Russia, from crossing the Bering Strait into Alaska.
Right.
That's why there's so many, what we call now Eskimos, but they were Native Americans. They just didn't pop up here. They came from other places as well, even the Native Americans.
At the time.
Is my understanding of history.
Okay, well, where they were talking
Am
about.
I wrong about that?
No, you're right. Some of them did come from other countries too, other places, migrated down here.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why if Native Americans were not considered citizens, then how could people who are children of people that are illegal aliens or even people that are, foreign nationals, how could they possibly be citizens?
Because the only reason Native Americans weren't considered Native Americans is because they weren't white. That's why.
But that's what I'm talking about. That's an exception to that rule. And the argument on the other side is, no, it applies to everybody across the board.
And I'm going to start with the truffles, and then we're going to have a little pasta. Teresa Goldner, everybody.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A federal judge has ordered President Trump to suspend construction of $400 million ballroom.
U.S. District Judge Richard Leon in Washington granted a request for a preliminary injunction that temporarily holds President Donald Trump's White House ballroom project, barring work from proceeding without congressional approval. Leon, who was nominated to the bench by Republican President George W. Bush, concluded that the National Trust for Historic Preservation is likely to succeed on the merits of its claims because no statute comes close to giving the president the authority he claims to have. The east wing of the White House was demolished to make space for the ballroom. Bill Alexander, Washington.
Correspondent Sam Mednick reports from the scene of an Iranian missile barrage in central Israel.
This is happening as President Trump has said that there is what he calls great progress in these talks that are being made to come to some sort of deal. However, he's also said that if no deal is reached soon, if the Strait of Hormuz is not open, that the United States is going to broaden its targets. So far there is no signs that this war is slowing. The United States and Israel continue to strike Iran, and Iran is continuing to send missiles this way as well.
Meanwhile, President Trump says securing the Strait of Hormuz is not for us and estimated that the U.S. will be done attacking Iran in 2 to 3 weeks. Trump made the comments Tuesday to reporters. He said the U.S. will not have anything to do with what happens in the strait, instead telling reporters that the responsibility for keeping the vital waterway open will rest with countries that rely on it. On Wall Street, a good day as the Dow recovered. It was up by 1,125 points. The Nasdaq rose 796, with the S&P 500 advancing 184. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If your investments are in a 401k or an IRA, then listen carefully. You spent 30, maybe 40 years building your retirement. The question is, are you about to watch it take a hit you can't recover from? Military escalation in Iran, tariffs and legal chaos, the US dollar under pressure it hasn't seen in years. History is clear. When this much uncertainty hits at once, the investors who moved into gold and silver first came out ahead. Right now, Advantage Gold is offering a free gold investment kit and a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's powerful new book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000. Thousands of Americans have already rolled over a portion of their 401k or IRA into physical gold and silver, completely tax and penalty free through Advantage Gold. Don't wait for the next surge to wish you had moved sooner. Results vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
When he will finally face the judge. I'm Chris Davis. Medical reasons were why 33-year-old Victor Farias did not attend his first court hearing on first-degree murder and other charges Monday. The hearing was scheduled for Monday morning, but has now been rescheduled for tomorrow. Farias is being accused of the murder of 30-year-old Yolanda Rojos, which happened last week at a house on College Avenue, after which police say Farias took off to Tehachapi, where he wrecked and was later caught. He's being held with no bail. Casinos in California would take a big hit in revenue and people would lose their jobs, say industry experts, if new regulations that are set to go into effect tomorrow are allowed to happen. That's why 2 lawsuits have been filed to stop the new regs. Casinos will have until July 1st to cut out traditional card games like blackjack, which would mean card rooms could be largely empty. More closures you should know about. Southbound lanes on Weibel Road between Brundage Lane and Bell Terrace will be closed from 7 to 4 starting tomorrow as crews install false work. That is expected to last through Friday. A nighttime lane closure on northbound 99 is planned for tomorrow. A closure of the number 3 lane, farthest right, closest to the shoulder, will start 9 p.m. The number 2 lane, that'll start 11 p.m. Both lanes are expected to reopen at 6 a.m. in time for morning drive. How you can get rid of the old tires. Kern County Public Works is hosting 3 free tire drop-offs in April. They'll be at the McFarland Delano Transfer Station April 11th, the Lebec Transfer Station April 18th, and the Shafter Wasco Landfill April 25th. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this cloudy, cool Tuesday afternoon in beautiful Bakersfield. We still got lots to do. Coming up, we'll talk a little bit about Tiger Woods, air travel, Artemis 2, and we'll go over some poll numbers. The president in the 30s for the first time in his career. And a judge says construction must stop on his vaunted ballroom. And Ron DeSantis, did you see this? Ron DeSantis has named an airport after Donald Trump. I mean, we've never seen anything like this in the history of this country. Did you know that he's going to put his name on the dollar bill? You know how, please stand by, because I just happen to have cash on me, which is incredibly rare. I don't know. He's made an executive order and he's going to go to the Department of Treasury. You think the Treasury Secretary is going to balk at him? Hell to the nah. But you see where the Secretary of the Treasury signature is? No, you can't see that. Well, you all know. You've seen a dollar. And there's the, let's see which secretary is on here, because sometimes these bills are old. It says Alexander Hamilton. That's a little joke. That's a little 18th century joke there. Sorry. Never mind. Stephen somebody, who I think that's Biden. Stephen starts with an M. Let's find out. Hey, Siri, who was Joe Biden's Treasury Secretary?
Okay, I found this on the web.
Janet Yellen. So no, I was incorrect.
Check it out.
Yeah. Stephen, look up lists of secretaries of the Treasury, would you please? And see where Stephen M. I can't read his signature. Stephen M. That would likely be maybe Trump, 16. I don't know. What do you got?
Sorry, I'm working on it still.
Rusty, our engineer, and Teresa Goldner just bonded over
I know. I can
Tiger
still hear him down
Mania.
the hall.
Yeah. Tiger Fight or Tiger Casino. What is it called again?
Tiger King.
Tiger King. They're bonding over that. Rusty, our engineer, is a big fan.
All right, so I have Scott Bassnett is the current.
Yes. The first
Yeah.
homosexual Secretary of the Treasury.
Biden had Andy Brokaw and Janet Yellen.
Janet Yellen. I remember Janet Yellen.
It is Donald Trump's first. It's Stephen Munchkin.
Munchkin. Yeah. Okay. Well, instead of Mr. Munchkin or Mr. Munchin or Mr. Beeson, his current Secretary of the Treasury, you're going to see Donald Trump's signature on dollar bills. I don't get it. I really don't. That an 80-year-old man put his name atop of John Kennedy's on the Kennedy Center that was memorialized to a dead president. And now he got an airport named after him in Florida, the airport that he lands in when he goes to Mar-a-Lago. DeSantis just puckered up and named it after Mr. Trump. I just don't get it. But one thing he can't do is continue construction on his ballroom. And of course, they're going to appeal it. It'll go to the Court of Appeals in District of Columbia. And then most likely, they might even take it to the Supreme Court. That's how serious it is about this incredible ballroom that's going to cost some $200 million. And he claims that it's all on private funds, et cetera, et cetera. And the judges basically stated that you got to get this through Congress, Pop. You just can't do this. You don't own that house. You live there. And you've been told to leave before, and you've been able to come back, but you don't live there. I mean, you don't own it. And so we'll see what happens. 842-5376, 842-KEON. Let's check the board for the first time today. What do you got?
This war reminds me of what Sonny said to the bikers in A Bronx Tale. Now yous can't leave.
Well, current events would beg to differ with you. It appears that the president is ready to cut and run, which, of course, that's exactly what Democrats are going to say. It doesn't matter, what he does, they're going to criticize it. I am just relieved that talk of going into Tehran and bumbling around and digging up dirt that we created in the first hit when we supposedly obliterated their nuclear infrastructure, that we're not going to send American boys and girls in there searching for uranium. at the target of the IRGC. I'm absolutely thrilled by that. I'm befuddled at the president's statement that we're going to be out of there soon, that Western Europe is on their own in terms of dealing with the Strait of Hormuz, when in fact it was Marco Rubio who just yesterday said that one way or the other, the Strait of Hormuz is going to be open. Now, maybe they're going to back that up by saying, well, what we meant was Western Europe is going to have to take care of it. And somehow the president, and I don't know if he doesn't understand this or he just does this purposely, because again, he doesn't play it straight, that he thinks that we can subside, we can live on the oil that we produce. And that somehow, if we just back out of this and tell Europe to open up the Strait of Hormuz, that somehow global oil prices aren't going to be impacted. They are. They're over $100 a gallon $100 a barrel right now. It's like 110. If it gets to $1.50, they're talking about, $5, $6 gasoline for the nation. Because you realize that east of us, everybody's complaining about $4 gas, when we all know we'd give our right pinky toe for $4 gas. So when they're talking about the national average being $5 or $6, you know what that means for us here in Cali. That means we're literally talking about $8 gas. Literally. Can you imagine? And that's why we led the broadcast off, or at the top of the show at least, talking about it's over, folks, in terms of the midterm. I'm tired of model coddling you guys and trying to preach to the choir. The reality is the Republican Party is about to get slaughtered. Absolutely slaughtered. Donald Trump's approval ratings, according to 4 different polls, the University of Massachusetts conducted their poll. He has an approval rating of 33, which is lower than Uncle Fluffy, Joe Biden, and a disapproval rating, which is really what is staggering, 62% of the American public. In an AP poll, he's 3860. In a Quinnipiac poll, he's 3856. And in a YouGov poll, he's 3558. His highest numbers are the AP poll that's got him at 38, but got him at a disapproval rating of 60. And I don't know if you've been keeping score with me, but since he's been elected, Republicans are literally winless in special elections. And not only are they winless, but they've lost in districts in which the president covered significantly. We began by telling you about down there in Texas way, where it was a district that Trump covered by 17 points, and a Democrat went in there and beat the Republican by 14 points, a 31-point swing. And then it happened again in another district, not in Texas, I can't remember, I think it was in Florida, where it was a clearly a Trump district. No, it was in Georgia. It was Marjorie Taylor Greene's district when they did the special election for her for taking off. The Democrat won. Neither one of the candidates got a majority of the vote, so there's a runoff coming up in a couple of months. But the Democrat, a black guy, a black Democrat won. Got the most votes, I should say. He didn't win. He got the most votes in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district in northwest Georgia, up there where the rich folks stay, where all the athletes, Roswell, Rome, up in there, where all the rich athletes and Hawks and Falcons and Braves all live. This doesn't bode well. And I even told you about a couple of state races in Florida. They were state races, but they were nevertheless red districts that were won both by Democrats. This not only signals, and Trump was talking about it last night on television on Fox, where, he's right. History demands almost that the sitting president lose the midterms. We've talked about it so many different times. I think it's happened 3 or 4 times in 200 years. And one time it happened, it was George Walker Bush. And that was post 9/11 when his numbers were in the high 60s, low 70s. So he's right. Traditionally, Barack couldn't do it. Uncle Fluffy couldn't do it. Clinton couldn't do it. It is almost impossible. It is almost like a check that the country wants on whatever the team in power is. But this thing's going to be bloody. This thing's not going to be a defeat. This is going to be, you're going to see districts that were once red get flipped. And that Marjorie Taylor Greene seat, I think, is one of them. I think there are going to be a couple of seats in Texas. I think there'll be a couple of seats out here in California that were once safe seats. I think David Valadao is safe, but I think Kevin Kiley, I think there are some other guys that are in kind of purplish, bluish districts that are going to get walloped because the president just doesn't have the juice anymore. And I don't know if you saw the Channel 17 poll last night, but 68% of those who responded said they are less supportive of this war. 18% said more. That's 68% with, I'm going to say 7 dead. I'm not going to include the 6 that died in an accident, although that was connected to the war. It's a refueling plane. It was, I suppose, connected to the war. So I guess you have to throw that in. All right, so let's say it's 13. Let's say it's 13. If the disapproval rating on a random 17 poll is, what I say, 68% with 13 dead, what do you think that looks like with 20, 25, 50, 75, 100, 125? And in a war, 125 dead, to be honest, to be cold-hearted and just analytical about it, that's good. But I don't think the country's going to examine it that way. I don't think the country's going to be analytical about that. And I think if the death toll rises, that's 68%, where can it go? What, to the 80s? And then what? The president doesn't have any choice but to get the Sam Hill out of there. And I think that's why he threw this trial balloon up to the New York Post saying, quote, "We will not be there much longer." Well, you better wrap it up. And I suppose what they're going to do is wrap it up and claim victory and say that we did what we came to do. It would be a lie, and I don't think most of Americans would support it. But at this point, I think somebody has finally grabbed him by the lapel and said, "You cannot put boys and girls in Iran. You just can't do it. You just can't do it." Then you become a total war president, and this whole the next 3 years or 2.5 years are consumed by explaining this away or dealing with this. And I just don't think Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, I don't think Rubio, I don't think they're that stupid. I'm praying I'm right, but I could be wrong. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll check the board. Bottom of the hour, Tiger Woods failed to take a urine exam. He blew 0000, as most of you know. But he was clearly on hydrocodone. They found a pair of pills in his pocket. We'll tell you about that. Air travel is starting to get back to normal, so go ahead and make some plans. Although the shutdown the shutdown continues, but the president put an emergency order, an executive order that and I was wrong. I lied to you. I lied to you yesterday, or I was inaccurate. I'll explain when we come back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Tuesday, right here on News Talk 96.1, AM 1180, KERN, streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we'll talk medicine with our friend Dr. Vip Dev. Apparently, there's a new COVID strain out and about. John Cox from the Californian will join us to administer his extremely crooked news quiz. We will have state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather. It's all happening at 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Every Thursday at 4:30, Daniel Petrie lightens up the broadcast with his incredible wit, pure intelligence, political knowledge, and obviously an absolute master of economics. That's why he's such an important cog on this broadcast. And you can hear him even on some of his off days when there are financial movements that we can't explain. We lean on my man from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. And of course, you know what they're all about. They're all about retirement. I've turned at least 3 or 4 different people on to Messmaker Petrie Wealth Advisors, and they could not be happier. You could be happy as well with your situation in terms of the fourth quarter in your life if you call 395-9400, 395-9400, the offices of Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a solicitation for advisory services by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Incorporated, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. The program host is a client and receives compensation and other financial benefits in connection with this advertisement, creating a conflict of interest. Experiences discussed may not be representative of other clients.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Carpet Outlet Plus installed over 1 million square feet of flooring last year alone. Over 20 years of Bakersfield's best flooring store means you can trust us with your hardwood, laminate, vinyl, and of course, carpet. Come in today to see over 100 waterproof floors from our in-stock inventory. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Your free in-home estimate is waiting for you. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Experience the Bakersfield Symphony, The Great Classics, Saturday, April 11th at Dignity Health Theater. The evening begins with Don Giovanni Overture by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. From there, Florence Price's Andante Moderato offers a moment of lyrical warmth, showcasing her rich, expressive voice through the lush sound of the string orchestra. The program concludes with Joseph Haydn's Triumphant Symphony No. 104, London, a joyful and spirited finale that reflects the wit, brilliance, and grandeur. These classical favorites are brought to life by the Bakersfield Symphony Orchestra. For more info, go to bsonow.org.
Get ready for the 11th annual Mac and Cheese Fest, happening Saturday, May 9th at the Kern County Fairgrounds from 2 to 6 p.m. This year's event is going to be bigger and better than ever. Enjoy endless servings of mac and cheese, along with refreshing beers, spiked seltzers, cocktails, and live music. Tickets are on sale now. For more information and to grab your tickets, visit BakersfieldMacandCheeseFest.com. Happening Saturday, May 9th at the Kern County Fairgrounds from 2 to 6 p.m.
This event benefits the Bakersfield Ronald McDonald House.
You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
By Adaptive Networks. That's it. Call for all your IT needs, 661-241-0638 or online at adaptive-net.com. What do you got on the board? I don't have time to get into Tiger till after the break.
Before we know it, our country's name will be changed to the United States of Trump.
Yeah, the changes they made, the Department of War, the Gulf of America. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It just seems like he believes that this is his country. Not like we believe it's our country, like it's his country, like it belongs to him, as does Greenland, as does Cuba. And it really goes to show you the power of the man, because he truly has spat in the face of his most ardent supporters. He's blown immigration. He promised that there would be no wars. And the liberals are just having a field day with this. And what do you think the midterm advertisements are going to look like? I saw them last night on Abby Phillip, where she brought out a compilation of pre-2016 Trump and 2016 Trump campaign. What's the word I'm looking for? Absolute rants, warning that the Democrats were going to get you into a war in Iran, that Kamala Harris was going to get us into a war in Iran, that Barack Obama was going to get us into a war with Iran, that he ran Hillary in 2016 when he ran. He said Hillary was going to get us into Iran. And here's why. You want to hear some audio that I just bumped into one night? Let me see, because it was a couple of nights ago and I never played it, so this is going to take a little bit while to find out. This is Hillary Clinton. I don't exactly have the date, but it's clear it was pre-2016. I think this is while she was preparing to run against Trump in 2016. But you might find what the secretary has to say kind of enlightening. Let me see if I can find this. Hang on, we've got till 6 o'clock. Just everybody relax. It's in here somewhere. Just to show you how much junk I post on my. It should make you feel good, Chris. So when you get like 10 o'clock text messages from me, realize that I don't send all of them to you. Some of them I store in here and I never use, and I can't find Hillary Clinton. Dadgummit. Where she basically says, here it is. Love this. Here you go. Check this out. And then again, maybe not.
I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran. Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that, because that perhaps will deter them from doing something that would be reckless, foolish, and tragic.
Can you imagine if the president at the beginning of Epic Fury sat down behind a desk with the presidential seal, got all the networks to clue in at 6 o'clock, and made a cogent Howard Marcus-like argument why we're doing what we're doing, and used that as a soundbite? That's Hillary Clinton from 2008. We could have had support for this thing had it been rolled out properly. But now it's all willy-nilly, and now they're talking about leaving very soon. And for what? Why did those 13 people die? For what? What have we done? Pete Hegseth had a press conference this morning. Didn't glean much from it. I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to hear Pete Hegseth. Not happy about that. Last half hour. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With us on news, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to suspend construction of a $400 million ballroom after it demolished the east wing of the White House. U.S. District Judge Richard Leon in Washington granted a preservationist group's request for a preliminary injunction that temporarily halts President Trump's White House ballroom project. Leon wrote that the president is a steward of the White House, not its owner. President Trump has signed an executive order to create a nationwide list of verified eligible voters and to restrict mail-in voting. The move Tuesday swiftly drew legal threats from state Democratic officials as the president demands further limitations on voting ahead of this year's midterm elections. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 1,125 points. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. Victor Farias, the man accused of stabbing to death Yolanda Rojos last week at a house on College Avenue, is expected in court Wednesday to face a judge for the first time on first-degree murder charges. Farias was absent from court Monday, and his attorneys say that was for medical reasons. You may be seeing BMWs on the roads to replace the Harleys that Bakersfield PD motorcycle cops currently ride. The department has been testing them out, the same ones used by the Highway Patrol, and the department tells KGET the plan is to gradually work them in as the Harleys age out. The Bakersfield Marathon for 2027 has been set for April 4th of next year, say organizers. They promise new courses for the next one. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
We all start as tiny seeds, needing care, love, and a little sunlight. Then, boom, we sprout, stretch, and grow through the world of childhood and teen years. Before you know it, we're blooming, working, parenting, thriving. And yes, even golden petals can shine bright. Join Kern County Public Health and thrive like a poppy. Visit KernPublicHealth.com to learn more.
George, what are you doing? Where are your pants?
Man, you said it was bottomless golf.
I said if you bought a Central Coast golf card, it was like buying bottomless golf.
Oh.
Well, probably can't play here today. Let's go to one of the other courses on the Central Coast golf card.
Yeah, good idea.
And let's get you some pants on the way.
I know, that's what I meant. Another good idea, see?
When it comes to golf, don't get caught with your pants down. 11 amazing California golf experiences for one low price. Limited quantities still available at centralcoastgolfcards.com.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
On the next Armstrong and Getty show, the Secretary of War says the coming days will be decisive. Plus, Trump lets Cuba off the hook. Why?
And I have a feeling we'll know more about this scandal story with Kristi Noem and her husband. Have you checked out the pictures at ArmstrongandGetty.com?
No, don't do it.
Oh, my God. We'll have the latest tomorrow on the next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing, mama. Girl, I'll be standing on the side when you check it out. When you get fooled by smile and faces, don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing, mama. I'll be standing on the side when you check it out. Oh, yeah. Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing. How could you just sit there, not even tapping your foot, not even popping your finger?
You can just sit there and Stevie Wonder songs. God, this 63-year-old man is weird.
This is not at all what's happening.
So there has been progress on the Tiger Woods story, as we've been reporting throughout the day. Tiger was arraigned, pleaded not guilty. They found 2 hydrocodones in his pocket. They said that they allowed him to take a field sobriety test seated, which I've never heard of, at least in the 2 sobriety tests I've taken. Anyway, that's the second point. That he failed, blew a 0.000 alcohol-wise, refused a urine test, which is a new law down in the great state of Florida, the Sunshine State, where now it is an automatic misdemeanor and it could result in him not driving for at least a year. I don't think that's an issue at this point. I don't think Charlie or Sam or even Elin or Mrs. Trump, his current girlfriend, the former Mrs. Trump, what's her name? Veronica? Valerie? Venus? Something with a V. Valencia? Venezuela? I don't know. Vanessa? I'm right somewhere in there.
Ivana?
Ivana? No, it's Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife.
Trump Jr., I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's Trump Jr.'s ex-wife. I think it's Vanessa.
Vanessa.
Yeah, it's Vanessa. Somebody's going to tackle a brother and say, you ain't driving, bro. You ain't driving. But much to our expectation, Tiger has put out a press release stating that he's going to step away from golf. There was some ridiculous speculation that he might play in the April 9th beginning of the Masters. And I think had he not flipped his truck, I don't think he would have played. He would have obviously gone for the dinner. Now he's blown that. He can't even show up. Nobody wants to deal with Tiger. The last thing in the world that the Masters folks want is Tiger Woods on that property, which normally is exactly the opposite. They need Tiger Woods on that property. They need him as part of the story of the Masters. It certainly does wonders for ratings. CBS is crying in their beer right now. But what we did learn was that he was going about 65 miles an hour. And then, it's what lawyers tell you when you're in trouble. STFU. Do you know what that stands for?
Shut the front door?
Yeah, shut the Sam Hill up. And Tiger didn't. Probably because he was high on hydrocodone. So you know what he told him, how he crashed? This is what he told him. This is a Stanford kid. This is a kid that got straight A's, never got a B in his life. Didn't graduate from Stanford because he had a little something going on fairways across this country. But he told them that I was messing with the radio and was on the phone. Like Tiger. You'd have been better off to just say, I was high as a kite and I couldn't make the turn in time. You were messing with the radio and on the phone? Dude, that's worse. You're a freaking idiot. What is wrong with you? And you were high? So you were high. You weren't watching the road. You were on the phone, which is illegal, and you were messing with the radio all at the same time? Hey, that's not even plausible. That you were messing with the radio and talking on the phone? Where were your hands? You were driving with your thighs? The more I think about it, he probably was. Until he saw the truck, and then he tried to swerve and bam, hit it, and next thing you know, he's climbing out of the passenger window. Please stand by. Rusty Bertrill, it depends on what station he was listening to. Rusty.
He really wanted to hear your reaction to his lion joke earlier, too.
There was no reaction. I'm just lying. He and Teresa were still out there when I made my walk talking about Tiger or whatever the hell it is. But let me read you the press release that Mr. Woods has. Rusty, please let me read this without the thing going off here. I'll just turn it off. Mr. Woods put this out today saying, I know I understand the seriousness of the situation. Is that the first quote? He's staying away from golf, quote, to seek treatment and focus on my health. I now understand. I know and understand, not now. I know and understand the seriousness of the situation I find myself in today. I'm stepping away for a period of time to seek treatment and focus on my health. This is necessary in order for me to prioritize my well-being and work toward lasting recovery. It is, I don't think anybody has a problem with him taking pain pills. The man has had 27 surgeries. The man has had 7 surgeries on his back alone, and most recently had a back surgery, about 8, 9, 10 months ago? And the police report that he was limping to his right, that he had a compression sock on his right leg. And I'm assuming in court, that's how they'll try to explain away him failing the field sobriety test. And it'll be a strong defense. Because particularly, and I don't think it matters whether it goes to a judge or a jury, when they get a look, when the defense comes in and they bring in their physician, the Tigers physician, and the guy, and it'll be elaborate. I trust you, because this is what I do. This is what you would do. I'd set up an X-ray machine in the courtroom, and I'd stick Tiger's X-ray of his right leg up and say, "You see this? You see these pins? This was from the first operation. This is from the second operation. That's from the fifth operation. That's from the 12th operation. That's from the 14th operation. That is where his bone was actually shattered. And we had to rebuild it. This man lives in pain. And there's none of you on this jury, nor you, judge, that could get through a day dealing with the pain that this man has to deal with." And then you throw yourself on the mercy of the court that he's a private man. He doesn't want people knowing where he's going and what he's doing. I heard Craig Carton, who is a disgraced WFAN former star, who's on with Boomer Esiason in the morning show, which is in New York, as good as it gets, and the ratings were out the roof. He went to jail for gambling illegally, and now he's come out. He got fired again by Fox, and now he's doing a podcast, and he came out and said, "You know why?" And this is what gets guys in trouble. When they think they're investigative reporters, and yet they've had no training, they've never studied communications law, and they don't understand what they can and cannot say, or what you can and cannot imply, or what facts you can present and try to present them as somehow nefarious. But Carton went on the air today and said that, well, you know why Tiger doesn't want a driver? It's because he's doing crap he shouldn't be doing. He's going to the Waffle House and having sex with the waitress, which is actually what he did when he was married to Elin. He was schlepping with the Waffle House waitress around the corner from their house. And I think, and this is just dumb, stupid speculation on the radio, you know what I think did it in for Elin? Like maybe, because many a woman has done it. Many a wife has done it. Many a husband has done it, forgiven a woman for cheating on him. Men aren't quite as open-minded on these things, our women are, but let's say that she could have forgiven him for stepping out. I think what really sealed it is when we learned through the media that I'm pretty sure it was the waitress had been to their home. Like to a woman, and I totally get it, I think to a human, to a man as well. It's one thing to cheat on your husband or wife. It's another thing to bring it into the home. It's another thing to do it where we sleep, where we cuddle, where we watch television, where I sit and read late at night, knowing that this is where it went down. And what he was thinking, taking some, how good looking could she have been in a Florida Waffle House? That's not, they weren't living in Jupiter, they were living further south in Florida. So the mystery is over. Tiger's going to go away for a couple of months, and then he'll come out and have a news conference. It'll look like $1 million, and he'll claim that he's never going to take painkillers again, which I find hard to believe given the pain that he lives with. And you know, it's an easy addiction. I've seen it happen, and I was ensconced for about 5 years. I was ensconced in Norcos. I took 2 a day. I took one, normally just 1 a day, but every now and again, fighting gout or just overall pain. And it is, it's not easy to get over. It really isn't. You go through what I guess would be considered withdrawals. And for me, it was, you know, that restless leg thing that a lot of people get, just period. I've heard people complain, older you get, people get it. Have you ever had that?
I haven't had it, but I know people who have.
It is a symptom of withdrawals. At least it was for me when I got off the Norcos, because I just went stone cold turkey. And for like 2 or 3 nights, I would just toss and turn and toss and just, it's a physical addiction, and it ain't easy. And my father used to tell me, and we've confirmed this, I've asked this of Jeet Singh on this show, that the mind is so complicated, and this is why this addiction is so dangerous. And my father had 3 different operations in his life and never would take pain pills or any type of medicine because he feared this. But he used to tell me that the reason people get addicted is not because they're weak or because it's a disease, which it is, but he said the mind is so powerful that the mind can actually replicate the feeling of pain in your head. In other words, you're not really in pain, but your mind tells you that you're in pain and you actually believe it. And so that justifies continuing taking pills when you absolutely don't need them. But this is, I think, expected. I think in terms of PR and his future with TGL, and now there's even a woman TGL, and the foundation and his work with the tour, because he was becoming the master of the tour. He was on his way to becoming the kind of, John Chisholm of PGA golf. John Chisholm was the man that created a trail that everybody could take their cattle and absolutely change the West in the 19th century. And Tiger Woods was about to be that guy in golf. He was about to be the Arnold Palmer who took golf to a whole different level. Took it to another level as a player, but now as kind of an administrator and a guy who everyone respects. And when he says anything about golf, you got to believe it, because he is the greatest player of all time. I'm sorry, Jack Nicholas. I didn't mean that as like a euphemism. Who you got?
Susan.
Susan, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well, Susan. How are you?
I'm good.
Great.
I just wanted to say the difference between you and him is that you are the smartest one to sit there and say, okay, I'm doing this. I'm not going to drive. I'm not going to do something illegal.
True that. I removed all options from myself.
Yeah. And I mean, being in the public eye and stuff like that, they think they're, I don't know, above it, that they can do whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy. And
yeah, that's the problem.
And it's not, it's like he doesn't learn his lesson, because all of these accidents, even the one in Palos Verdes, which I personally think on the down low, I think he was high that morning. And I think they were just so concerned about his life that they didn't, draw blood and examine it. They were trying to keep the guy's leg intact, but they all involve him speeding. That's what I don't understand. He was doing 65 down a 30-mile-per-hour street. That's like zipping through the middle of Westchester, doing 60, 65 miles an hour. It's crazy.
It is. And that's the thing, is they think they're above the law, that, they're not going to do anything to me, just a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
But if it was you or I, it'd be different.
It would be totally different. You're absolutely right, Susan. Absolutely right. All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
You have a nice evening.
You too. Happy Easter. I forgot to keep wishing people happy Easter. I keep forgetting it's Easter week. It's Easter week. I'm off to Los Angeles on Friday night. The nephew's swinging by. Ooh, the nephew might be on the show Friday.
Really?
Yeah, he says he gets off at 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, maybe not. He gets off at 2.
Yeah, we could throw him at 5:30.
Sacramento?
5:45?
Sacramento in 3 hours?
Oh, no.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
Not unless he's hauling.
That's what I'm saying. He says he gets off at 2, so he's probably not on the road till 2:30. That's 6:30 easy.
Oh, yeah, at least.
Yeah, that's too bad.
If not 7:30.
5 hours? No, I've done it
Sac?
a couple times. Yeah, I've done it a couple times. It's like 4 change.
You know what? No, you're right, because it's 5 to Chico, so it
Yeah.
has to be.
Yeah.
It's shorter than that.
Yeah. I forgot that it's Easter. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll read a couple text messages, get into the 5, talk a little bit more about the president, judge's decision, knocking down, halting at least, construction on his elaborate ballroom. You'll hear from Francis Ford Coppola, some miscellaneous audio I collected last night. He explains the story, how Paramount and its chair absolutely said there's no way Marlon Brando gets on this picture. No way in the world. And it's just amazing what fate has in store for us, because I don't care who they could have got. I think Sir Lawrence Olivier was talked about. There were a number of folks that were considered to be Don Corleone. Just wouldn't have been the same movie without Marlon Brando. Not the same film. Quick timeout. Coming right back. It's TRBS on a cool, cloudy Tuesday afternoon, the final day in March, and a happy Easter week to you all. From the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 AM 1180 KERN. We stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. It's the
Adaptive.
Finally done the right thing and banned transgender people from women's sports. They didn't do it for men's sports because you don't see the issue of trans people going from women to men trying to compete with men. No, you only see men trying to compete with the women because they know they have an advantage. And if they're not happy with that decision, well, they can just take their ball and go home.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
Coming up tomorrow, among our many guests, and we do have a busy lineup tomorrow on Wednesday, are the Van Alstynes, Jennifer and Ryan, owner-operators of Adaptive Networks. And as you probably know by now, they are our IT team, and I suggest they become yours. You know, a lot of business owners don't realize that there are scammers, hijackers, kidnappers, extortionists out there who will grab your passcodes and all of your information and then contact you and actually extort you. Hey, Chris Burdick, if you don't pony up, we're going to put all your passcodes and all your information out to your opponents, to your rival company, or we'll just destroy it. That's why you need to call the folks at Adaptive Networks at 661-241-0638. They're safe, they're secure, and even if your information is taken, they know how to retrieve it. Take this seriously if you're a local business owner and call Jennifer and Ryan at 241-0638. That's 661-241-0638. Or hit them at adaptive-net.com. Adaptive Networks, the IT team that keeps this radio station on the air.
Moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their thousands of great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
Right.
Doesn't matter who we're playing; it's who's pitching.
Oh, it's Shohei pitching.
The big fella, the 2026 Cy Young Award winner, is taking the bump tonight. I think you're going to see something peculiar, something that you're not expecting tonight. I think Doc, Mr. Roberts, which always reminds me of Jack Lemmon, Captain, it is I, Ensign Pulver, and I just threw your plant overboard. Now, what's all this crud about no movie tonight? I bust into classic motion picture lines. That's from Mr. Roberts, a film starring Henry Fonda and Jack Lemmon. In fact, Jack Lemmon won his first Academy Award for his portrayal as Ensign Pulver. Then they tried to make a sequel, and they wouldn't pay Jack Lemmon, so they brought in another guy to play Ensign Pulver, and it was Burl Ives, and it was horrible. It was not a very good movie. But Mr. Roberts is a classic. Henry Fonda played it on Broadway, and they made a movie out of it with James Cagney. It's an unbelievable cast. William Powell, the aforementioned Henry Fonda, James Cagney, and Jack Lemmon. Great cast. Great motion picture. Really, really is. Tasty, but entirely too small. I could have eaten 2 more of those. So I'm going with, what am I going with tonight? The quarter pounder?
Yeah, the quarter pounder.
That's what I'm going with, the quarter pounder. Going to sit in the living room and watch Shohei on the 65 tonight. I just don't know what to get. I wish they had sides. I don't want to do fries. I don't want to do tots.
Well, I got mozzarella sticks.
That's just, you can't eat mozzarella sticks with a dog. I need like
popcorn chicken.
Well, it's just another meal. Popcorn chicken, is it any good?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Their popcorn chicken is fantastic.
Oh, I love the popcorn chicken.
Really?
I've grown up on it though, so don't like.
biases. I'm not a Sonic guy. The only time I've ever been to Sonic was with little Lori. She loved the Slurpees or whatever the hell they're called. We would literally go there just so she could get a drink. And I was just like, this is the dumbest thing. I mean, are they still on roller skates?
I actually don't know. I haven't sat out there to get something in a long time.
I drive by it, or I'm driven by it all the time. It's right down the street from me.
Right.
Just, what is that? Just west of, or just east of Chester. Right next to Jack in the Box. Right next to the KCCD building, Kearney Community College District building, as a matter of fact. We're headed to the final hour of the broadcast. We'll tell you the details of Artemis 2, which by this time tomorrow will be in space. They are going on a 10-day mission, 4 different astronauts. I'll give you the facts and figures about the 3 men and 1 woman going to space in less than 24 hours. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show, and I would stick around if I you.
This is AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Iran war has pushed the price of gas to the highest level it's been in almost 4 years. Correspondent Mike Hempen reports.
Gas prices in the U.S. have reached their highest level since 2022. AAA says the national average for a gallon of regular gas is now $4.02. That's over $1 more than before the war began. The last time drivers were paying this much was nearly 4 years ago, following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Prices vary from state to state due to factors ranging from supply to differing tax rates. Some drivers have been paying more than $4 a gallon for some time. Analysts say the cost of groceries could increase as businesses' transportation costs increase. I'm Mike Hempen.
4 people are charged in a corruption investigation linked to a New York City homeless shelter operator.
Federal prosecutors probing public corruption in New York
have charged the leaders of a homeless shelter nonprofit with stealing $1.3 million from the taxpayer-backed organization. Prosecutors say the leaders also steered contracts worth millions more to favored vendors in exchange for bribes and kickbacks. 4 people were arrested in the probe. The charges come as investigators also probe whether City Council member Farrah Lewis and her sister Debbie Lewis, an aide to New York Governor Kathy Hochul, accepted bribes related to the appropriation of city funds to the nonprofit. Julie Walker, New York.
A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to suspend construction of a $400 million ballroom after it demolished the east wing of the White House. On Wall Street, a recovery day as the Dow was up by 1,125 points. The Nasdaq rose 796. The S&P advanced 184. More at townhall.com.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I had a lot of credit card debt and it stressed me out. But what I thought was a solution turned out to be a problem. I kept hearing ads about debt settlement that seemed too good to be true. And actually, it was. When I called, they told me to stop paying my bills. That didn't sound right to me at all, so I hung up. Later, I found out that debt settlement is bad, real bad. Then I learned that there is a right way to pay off your credit cards. It's called a debt management program from the great team at Trinity. Trinity had a plan. In the end, I paid off my bills, I saved thousands, and I even improved my credit score.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
When he will finally face the judge. I'm Chris Davis. Medical reasons were why 33-year-old Victor Farias did not attend his first court hearing on first-degree murder and other charges Monday. The hearing was scheduled for Monday morning, but has now been rescheduled for tomorrow. Farias is being accused of the murder of 30-year-old Yolanda Rojos, which happened last week at a house on College Avenue, after which police say Farias took off to Tehachapi, where he wrecked and was later caught. He's being held with no bail. Casinos in California would take a big hit in revenue and people would lose their jobs, say industry experts, if new regulations that are set to go into effect tomorrow are allowed to happen. That's why 2 lawsuits have been filed to stop the new regs. Casinos will have until July 1st to cut out traditional card games like blackjack, which would mean card rooms could be largely empty. More closures you should know about. Southbound lanes on Weibel Road between Brundage Lane and Bell Terrace will be closed from 7 to 4 starting tomorrow as crews install false work. That is expected to last through Friday. A nighttime lane closure on northbound 99 is planned for tomorrow. A closure of the number 3 lane, farthest right, closest to the shoulder, will start 9 p.m. The number 2 lane, that'll start 11 p.m. Both lanes are expected to reopen at 6 a.m. in time for morning drive. How you can get rid of the old tires. Kern County Public Works is hosting 3 free tire drop-offs in April. They'll be at the McFarland Delano Transfer Station April 11th, the Lebec Transfer Station April 18th, and the Shafter Wasco Landfill April 25th. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Tuesday, a dreary, cloudy, cool Tuesday afternoon. And you're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live, KERNradio.com, broadcasting live on YouTube. You can now actually watch us broadcast the program. Or, more importantly, I believe, because I've been watching the trend, and every night we get about 25 to 30, maybe 40 listeners who go back and watch the broadcast, either a segment or they don't have the opportunity to listen from 3 to 6, and they go back and watch the show in its entirety. And I'll be honest with you, that's more rewarding and fulfilling to me than the actual people that are watching live. Because the fact that people are what do you call that, appointment watching, where they can't listen in between 3 and 5 or miss we generally, our more important stories are in the 3 o'clock hour, and a lot of people are still at work. So you can now go to YouTube and rewatch some of our interviews with Teresa Goldner at 3:30. Our lead story is normally the first half hour, and or any segment of the program at any point. You can just fill in my name, just go to YouTube, throw in Ralph Bailey, and it should pop up. And then there's a box, there's a red marker on the bottom, and you can just scroll to the right, and it'll advance it through to whatever segment you desire. Meantime, resetting our top story of the day, the president has sent a trial balloon, I think, to the New York Post, saying that we won't be in Iran much longer. I'm sure, along with the Iranians, the stock market absolutely adored that implication, or perhaps forthright statement. Maybe he's telling the truth, and we are getting out soon. We have completely abandoned any effort, apparently, to go get the uranium, the enriched uranium that we'd have to physically get with boots on the ground. I think we've abandoned any idea of defending the Strait of Hormuz and escorting ships through. In fact, Pete Hegseth, as I told you, I had to get up at 5 o'clock in this morning because he had an 8 o'clock East Coast press conference in which he addressed the Strait of Hormuz.
This Strait of Hormuz issue, which we've set the conditions for success, and we will make sure Iran knows that very clearly, is not just a United States of America problem set. We've been willing to lead. President Trump's led the entire time, but it's not just us. So ultimately, I think other countries should pay attention when the president speaks. He's proven that when he speaks, he means something. And he's pointing out, might want to start learning how to fight for yourself.
So we're abandoning our Western European allies. We are now moving away from NATO. And, it's almost to the point where I'm not there yet. And I could get there. I'm not going to lie to you. Where it's almost as if I want either an anti-Trump Republican like Marco Rubio. Because I think deep in his heart, he is an anti-Trumper. I truly believe that. Because before Trump got anointed in 2016, not only did Marco Rubio run against him and absolutely vilified him, as did J.D. Vance. That's why I talk about this constantly. We've never seen this. We've never seen the kind of power that this man wields, that people are willing to absolutely change who they are, change their conservative Republican principles, and change their absolute feeling about Donald Trump. J.D. Vance compared him to Hitler, completely ignoring all my warnings to stay away from the Third Reich. But he called him Hitler. And now he's his vice president and heir apparent. And if he's elected, you know what direction he's going to go. He's going to try to keep the Republican Party a Trump party. We need to move away from Donald Trump. He's had his time. He's had his terms. Let's hope this last one is a successful one. That's the jaw, sorry. But this can't continue. This kind of leadership, this kind of aimless, I'm thinking, stand by, aimless, hysterical almost. That's why I paused. I didn't want to use that word, but I think it's appropriate. It's hysterical to say one day we are going to guard the Strait of Hormuz, and then the next day say, hey, fellas, Western Europe, you're on your own. Lo siento mucho. Which puts our relationship with NATO in jeopardy, which puts peace in Europe in jeopardy. Do you know who heard that the most? This difference between United States and NATO. You know whose ears perked up when they heard that? One Vladimir Putin. What? What? There could be a break with America and NATO? Meaning what? Meaning that Vladimir Putin would have the run of Western Europe. And if you don't think that he's capable of doing that, you done lost your mind, as my grandmother used to say. This opens the door for him not only continuing through Ukraine, but going even further. This is nutsy cuckoo stuff that we've never, ever seen since the inception of NATO. And this idea that Western Europe is just on their own. Fender yourself. You heard I read the president's statement. Go get your own oil, is what he's claiming. As if that's not going to impact the global market. As if it's not going to get to $5-6 a gallon nationally. Which, of course, as we talked about earlier in the broadcast, if it's $5-6 nationwide, that means it's $7-8 out here in Cali. And I just don't think that is. I mean, you're going to see people running out of the Republican Party. You're going to see people voting for Democrats. If gas gets to $7-8, if it's $150 a barrel, our roughnecks and our local oil barons will be dancing through the streets of Bakersfield. But residents throughout this great state are going to be livid. It's just not sustainable. And I don't even know how to defend it anymore because I don't know what the objective is. What am I defending? Am I defending them going after their nuclear infrastructure? Well, no, they punted on that. Thank God, because I think they were about to put boots on the ground and go after the uranium. And once that made public, I think somebody grabbed, figuratively, the president by the lapels and said, you just can't do this. And I'm guessing it was Susan Wiles, Pat Summerall's granddaughter, who's the chief of staff, who just said to him, you cannot have American boys bumping around Tehran, digging up ground, looking for uranium. It just is suicide, figuratively and literally, and politically. It just, so are we just decimating their army and their navy? That's a good thing. They can ride with that. The fact of the matter is, and I'm not trying to make light of 13 deaths, but the reality is, in a month-long war, 5-week war, those are relatively low numbers, given the devastation that we've caused on Iran. But I think that's why I think he got to the brink of really feeling like we got to put boots in there. We've got to do something about the strait. We've got to do something about that uranium. And I think somebody talked him off the ledge. And if I had to guess, I think it was Susie Wiles, the chief of staff. I think she's the only sober adult in the room. There are members of the cabinet that I like, the Secretary of Treasury, the Secretary of Transportation, Burgum, who else do I like? Rubio. But I think Susan Wiles is the only sober adult in the room who could say, you just cannot have Americans die in Iran. You just can't. They're not going to put up with it. And it doesn't even matter what the number is. If two American boys die on a mission in Iran, the party is over. 16 years of democratic rule. You can count on it. Because they will talk about, how long have we been talking about Vietnam? So if we have mass casualties, and when I say mass, it could be 30, 40. It's all relative. You have 20, 30 body bags come home from Iran, from some mission in Iran, which is a little bigger than Texas. The Republican Party is dead. D-E-A-D, dead, in my opinion. And again, I don't know what to defend anymore. I don't know what we're defending. Are we decimating these people? Are we killing their nuclear infrastructure? Are we dealing with the new IRGC? Are we trying to alter the regime? Because again, this regime change, and again, if this had been explained articulately, the support might be stronger. There's no question to be stronger. but it might be strong enough to sustain an ongoing war. Now you got to get out because the pressure is so high. But the reality is, I don't think the president, I don't think the Trump administration, Marco Rubio, no, Ralph Bailey gives a damn who is the new regime. You know, one of the Democrats' rooting points and rooting for the Iranians is, well, there's really been no regime change. I mean, they killed Khomeini, but the son is somewhere, and they could possibly be under the gun of the IRGC. Who cares? Who cares? As long as we can alter their pattern of behavior. That's all we want. We don't care if it's a religious cleric freak running Iran. What we want, stop bombing Israel, stop supporting Hezbollah and Hamas, stop attacking American bases in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, the UAE, etc., etc., etc. For those who were sleeping during English, that's etc., etc., etc. That's what we want. Just a moderation of how you deal. And don't kill your own people. Don't kill 20,000 Iranians. And if that can be achieved, as I said yesterday, if Trump could actually achieve that, go down as the greatest president in the history of the world. Really would. He'd be second to Lincoln. He really would be. Because how many presidents have tried or wanted? Jimmy Carter did his damnedest with the talks between Menachem Begin and Anwar Sadat. How many presidents have tried? Clinton, the Abraham Accords. I mean, think about all the efforts we've made in the Middle East and failed, absolutely failed for 47 years now. And now the road through the Middle East could change. But who knows? That's why I don't even know what to say anymore. I really don't. I don't know what to defend. I don't know where the stance is. I don't know what the priority is. It's just a mystery. But what is not mysterious is the drop, the plummet, the absolute deep dive of the numbers of the president. Whereas I said earlier, he's at 33 and his lowest in the University of Michigan, Massachusetts poll, 33.62, 33 approval, 62 disapproving. And at his highest in an AP poll, he's 38.60. 38 approval, 60% of the country saying no. You're getting it wrong, Mr. President. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, check the board, see what you all are talking about. Get to the bottom of the hour. And give you some facts and figures on Artemis 2. Set to take off in less than 24 hours down in Florida. Headed on a 10-day mission, 6,000 feet. Or is it 6,000 miles? I think it's 6,000 miles above the moon. They're not landing, but they are setting up what I think is the future of space for America and this planet. Quick timeout. Coming right back. It's TRBS. News Talk 96.1 AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
Big Mike.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we'll talk medicine. Friend Dr. Vip Dev, apparently there's a new COVID strain out and about. John Cox from the Californian will join us to administer his extremely crooked news quiz. We will have state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather. It's all happening at 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You know, with all the great caterers in town, it just doesn't make sense if you've got a big event coming up, you try to do the work yourself, the serving, the cleaning, the cooking. But of all the caterers in town, I can honestly say that Mike Arier and Big Mike's Ragin' Barbecue has really emerged as one of the leading caterers in this town. Mike has worked on word of mouth, and it's been working. He's been very successful over the last 2 decades. He's a former NFL star, played for the Green Bay Packers, played for Bill Parcells. In fact, we're going to have Mike on the show a little bit later on in the week to talk about his NFL transition to catering. But he is a stickler for quality meats. He is a stickler for the quality of food that he serves. He's a tremendous cook. He's got an incredible team. He comes with that crew, his rig. They do the cleaning. They do the serving. And, of course, they do all the cooking. Call Mike at 393-5507. That's 393-5507 for whatever event you may have. It's Big Mike's Ragin' Barbecue. And, yes, they're still raging hot.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Oil isn't the only resource hit hard by global events. American farmers are sounding the alarm by fertilizer prices at planting season. Will this disrupt our food supply, raising prices, cause shortages? I'm not waiting to find out, and neither should you. Go to mypatriotsupply.com, get a 3-month emergency food supply. They'll include $200 worth of extra survival protein absolutely free. After serving more than 3 million American families since 2008, you can trust mypatriotsupply.com. Go to mypatriotsupply.com.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez. Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his longstanding and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298. The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Eight 842-5376, 842-KERN. On board?
Yeah, we got a couple.
What do you got?
I think I think we already have quite a few boots on the ground, and we already positioning to go in and get the uranium out.
I don't think so. I think it was on the table. I think the president was strongly considering it. I think the positioning of the troops, they're not in Iran. We have 7,000 troops in the region. Actually, we have 50,000 troops in the entire region, but in the direct region near Iran and near Israel, we have about 7,000 troops, 1,000 paratroopers. I just don't, the president, if there's anything the president pays attention to, it's poll numbers. And now that he's in the 30s and he's seeing disapproval ratings into the 60s, imagine if something goes wrong. Imagine, President Carter tried to, people don't remember this, but President Carter, during the Iranian crisis, when we had 455 hostages in Iran, tried a rescue mission that failed, and people died. And I can only think that that was part of the perfect storm that caused Jimmy Carter's demise in 1980 when Ronald Reagan thoroughly defeated him. They called the election at about 7 o'clock. It's the last time they've done that. But they're now waiting until the West Coast polls close before they announce a winner. They did not do that then. In fact, I've told you many times, it's the only presidential election that I've never voted in. I had just turned 18 that August. The election was in November. I was a freshman at Morehouse College. We were lined up in the gym waiting to vote. And my roommate, George Gathers, came down and said, Reagan won. Tom Brokaw just said on the news, Reagan won. And we all left. What's the point? I didn't know anything about Atlanta politics. Mayor Young wasn't running for mayor quite yet, so there was nothing for us to vote for, really. I'd been there, a couple of months. I didn't know anything about the city council races or anything like that. So once the presidential race was over, there was no reason to vote. Logically, and I think smartly, although it's kind of a badge of dishonor on my record, having my first opportunity to vote for the presidency, and I didn't do it. But I think that's part of what was, and there were obviously much greater problems that Jimmy Carter had, but just imagine if they go into Iran and something goes wrong, a helicopter crashes, they're shot leaving. I mean, it's just too high a risk. And if the American public was behind him and believed in Epic Fury, perhaps that'd have been different. Had he made the case and had support, maybe it would be different. But I think at this point, it's too big a gamble. You know, at some point you have to cut and run, unfortunately. And the thing that we didn't learn from Vietnam, in my opinion, is that we just kept doubling down instead of just getting the hell out of Southeast Asia. Think about how many young American boys would be in their 80s right now or late 70s had we just simply got the hell out of Southeast Asia and let the Vietnamese deal with their own civil situation. So I think that's highly unlikely. I didn't, it's crazy. 48 hours ago, I would have said, you're right. They were absolutely sending all kind of signals, but that's the Trump way. It's all a negotiation with him. It's all a deal with him. And that's why I said he's got to play it straight. This isn't a deal. This isn't a campaign speech. This isn't the midterms. This isn't a debate. This is war. You're asking parents to send their children in harm's way because of you. Because again, when this is all looked at again, this thing is going to have been started by a hunch. The president said he felt that Iran was going to attack us, so we attacked first. And that's how it's going to go down in the history books. And that does not bode well for the Trump legacy. So I just think it's highly unlikely that we are actually going to go into Iran. I could be incredibly wrong. I really could be, but I doubt it. Last half hour of a dreary day and a dreary show. I apologize. My energy level is not there. I don't know. It's because there's nobody here. Is even Snacks here? Snacks is here. So it's the three of us. Rand Dizzle is on a cruise. That dude loves cruises. You ever been on a cruise? No? I've been on one, and I was like, didn't like it. The cabins are tiny. I lost $150 playing blackjack. I almost hooked up with this gal, actually, but that's beside the point. And I was with Jazz McKay and a bunch of listeners. It was horrible. It was a horrible experience. The only time I had a good time was when we got out in Mexico and went to Senor Frogs and went to another unknown bar to get away from the listeners.
News.
I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump has signed an executive order to create a nationwide list of verified eligible voters and to restrict mail-in voting. The move Tuesday swiftly drew legal threats from state Democratic officials as the president demands further limitations on voting ahead of this year's midterm elections. Tiger Woods says he'll step away and seek treatment after his SUV crash in Florida. Woods made his comments Tuesday, 4 days after the crash that led to his arrest on suspicion of driving under the influence. Woods pleaded not guilty on Tuesday in his driving under the influence case. The pleas came hours after a sheriff's report said he had pain pills in his pocket and showed signs of impairment at the crash scene last week. More details available at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. Victor Farias was a no-show for his first court hearing Monday on first-degree murder charges in the death last week of Yolanda Rojo at a house on College Avenue. The court says medical reasons. That hearing, which is his arraignment, is rescheduled for Wednesday. The Bakersfield Marathon for 2027 has already been announced. That'll be April 4th next year. The organizers say more than 5,000 people ran or walked the routes this year, and they expect a bigger crowd next time around with some new courses for the 10th marathon. Jennifer Feige has been appointed a new Kern County Superior Court judge to replace Judge Elizabeth Rodriguez, who resigned recently. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Get ready for the 11th annual Mac and Cheese Fest, happening Saturday, May 9th at the Kern County Fairgrounds from 2 to 6 p.m. This year's event is going to be bigger and better than ever. Enjoy endless servings of mac and cheese, along with refreshing beers, spiked seltzers, cocktails, and live music. Tickets are on sale now. For more information and to grab your tickets, visit BakersfieldMacandCheeseFest.com. Happening Saturday, May 9th at the Kern County Fairgrounds from 2 to 6 p.m.
This event benefits the Bakersfield Ronald McDonald House.
On the next Armstrong and Getty show, the Secretary of War says the coming days will be decisive. Plus, Trump lets Cuba off the hook. Why?
And I have a feeling we'll know more about this scandal story with Kristi Noem and her husband. Have you checked out the pictures at ArmstrongandGetty.com?
No, don't do it.
Oh, my God. We'll have the latest tomorrow on the next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
This time tomorrow, 4 astronauts, 3 men and a woman, will be soaring through space at speeds that are unheard of, trying to escape at about 17,500 miles per hour. It is Artemis 2. It is the first time that we've been back to the moon in 53 years, starting in 1969, of course, with Neil Armstrong saying those famous words, one small step for man, one giant step for mankind. I was 7 years old. I was living in New York City. I was at my cousin Sam Bailey's house, and I just remember it was the middle of the afternoon. And I just remember staring at the moon. It was a full moon. I'll never forget it. I was 7 years old, and it was just mind-boggling to look up at the moon and think that there were human beings walking around hitting golf balls, driving in a Jeep. Do you think Mary Little thinks that this launch tomorrow is real? She is the school board member who literally and proudly proclaims that we've never been to the moon. Now, I don't know if I guess you could come back and say, well, I know that other countries have been to the moon. I just don't think the United States has been to the moon because everybody's been to the moon. Who just got back? Japan, the Japanese, or was it the Chinese? I think it was the Japanese went to the dark side of the moon. It was one of the two. It was either the Chinese or the Japanese. Let's find out. Or was it the Indians? Was it the Cleveland Guardians that went? No. Hey, Siri, what was the last country to go to the moon?
Here's an answer from Wikipedia.
It was India. Bailey stumbles staggeringly, haphazardly into a crazy correct answer. On July 22nd, 2019, India sent Chandrayaan. Oh, God damn it. Oh, I hate that. When you get Siri answers, it eliminates after a while. But I was right, it was India. But Mary Little doesn't believe that anybody's been to the moon. And I would love to be, God, wouldn't it be great if they had a meeting tonight? They don't meet tonight because it's Easter. Wouldn't it be great if they had a meeting tonight? I got in line and asked. My question is for Trustee Little. There is a space launch tomorrow on its way to the moon. I just wanted to know your thoughts. I've never seen an educated human being say we've never been to the moon. I've seen people with, tin caps on and stuff, but not tin caps, aluminum foil caps or whatever the hell it is, the phrase is. I've seen those people, but not educated people, and not people that are supposed to oversee our education. Like, doesn't that eliminate you from being a board member, an educational board member, when you clearly are nutsy cuckoo? I mean, am I wrong to say that it's nutsy cuckoo to say that nobody's been to the moon? There's always evidence that can catapult a conspiracy, because there are some funky things that I've even questioned. Like when you look at the lunar module, that thing looks like something Chris and I put together in my garage. You know what I'm saying? With like tin foil, and it's just like, I don't know. And then there was the case where Buzz Aldrin, have you ever seen this on Facebook? Have you guys ever seen this? Where Buzz Aldrin, who accompanied Neil Armstrong to the moon, Michael, I forget who was manning the spaceship, but he had to stay in, Michael something. But Aldrin got pinned down a couple of years ago by, one of these influencers, YouTubers, podcasters, and he had a Bible. And he said, Mr. Aldrin, will you put your hand on this Bible and swear that you've been to the moon? And you know what? Buzz Aldrin wouldn't do it. Now, that could mean absolutely nothing. That I'm not going to entertain some idiot influencer who's going to corner me in an elevator and shove a Bible in my... No, I'm not going to do it. Or, I don't know. Have you ever seen... I'm forgetting the name of the movie, but it's an O.J. Simpson movie with James Brolin. Something Moon. Somebody, let's see who gets it first. Will the listeners get it first, or will Chris Burdick get it first? Let's see. Anybody?
Capricorn 1.
Capricorn 1. I told you I had a moon in the title. Capricorn 1. Starring James Brolin, O.J. Simpson. Who was the third astronaut?
Give me 1 second. I'll have to pull that up.
It was Mrs. Streisand, Mr. Streisand, the Orenthal James Simpson.
Elliot Gould.
No, Elliot Gould was the reporter who uncovered.
James Brolin. Sam Watterson.
Yes, Sam Watterson, who would later play on what's the big hit series on NBC?
Law and Order.
Yeah, Law and Order. That's Sam Watterson. And he's in a really famous Vietnam movie with a name I can't even remember, and I'm not going to have Chris look it up. But the thesis of the movie is they fake going to the moon, and Elliot Gould plays, speaking of Barbra Streisand, he was also married to Barbra Streisand. Isn't that crazy? Two guys in the same movie that were at least one time married to Barbra Streisand. Anyway, Gould finds out about it. And I think they start killing off the guys so they don't rat, and they kill OJ, and I think Brolin survives. I don't know. Anyway, that's Mary Little's actual theory of spaceflight. She thinks it's all a phony. And she's actually a part of education. And I just don't understand that. Only in Bakersfield could there be a member of a board of education who doesn't believe in spaceflight, who thinks somehow that I don't understand how she explains the space station. I don't know how she explains our telescope and all the deep space adventures that we have done that have been unmanned. But I mean, it's Bakersfield. We've got a criminal an alleged criminal, according to our sheriff, on the current high school board of trustees, Kathy Scrivener, who instructed her grandchildren not to cooperate with the police department, the sheriff's department, when it came to her son, Zach Scrivener. And there are even further rumors that I'm not going to dignify, but I will say there are rumors flying around this town that there was more destruction of evidence. I know for a fact, based on 3 different sources, that Mr. Scrivener was told to bite down his fingernails. Why would Mr. Scrivener do that? DNA. And doesn't that sound like something a crime fighter would know? That's all I'm saying. I'm not naming the crime fighter, but I'm just thinking to know that. I certainly, would you think of that, Chris? You committed a crime?
No.
To clip down your nails to get rid of the DNA? I would never think of that. And I just think you have to have kind of a law enforcement background to think that way. Just saying. And there are further rumors that I'm not going to spread, but there are rumors that there was evidence destroyed that day. But none of the board members will ask for her resignation. Bakersfield. You really think that would play in LA? You really think there was a member of the LA school board and that they had told children that were involved in a child endangerment case not to speak to the police? That board member would still be on if this was Los Angeles, if this were Fresno, if this was San Francisco. But it ain't. It's Bakersfield. It's Bakersfield. So the board of the trustees, her fellow board members, just sit there like idiots, as if they don't know what's going on, as if they haven't heard what the sheriff has said and what the allegations are. It's just simply remarkable. That's why you've always heard me say there are a couple of societal lies in America. One is that we respect and take care of our elders. It's an absolute lie. It's an absolute lie. We treat our elders horribly. Most of us don't, but senior citizens' homes are filled with people that don't get visitors, that are there by themselves, left to die. How do I know this? I've told you. My buddy works in the U.S. Attorney's Office. He used to prosecute senior living homes that were wretched. We're fortunate. We've got some great facilities here. I've visited and spoken at some of them, and some of them are incredibly nice, incredibly expensive, but nevertheless, that's at least some respect for your parents. They brought you into this world. They took care of you. And the other fallacy, the other societal lie is that we take care of our children. We do not. We do not. We do a miserable job of defending our children. We're living through it. Where a child who just happened to be the child of a very powerful family and a powerful man was violated in her father's bed by her father, according to authorities, and yet that man is walking free today, going through mental diversion programs, destroying his family's legacy, ruining his aunt's career, and absolutely destroying his mother's political career. But we take care of our kids, right? Genesis Mata. We take care of our kids, don't we? How many times did Child Protective Services examine that case? Once? Twice? 3 times? No, it was more like 4 or 5. And they kept that child in the hands of the accused murderers, Ray Mata and Gabrielle Bustamante. Yeah, we take care of our kids. Sure we do. Sure we do. Sure we do. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the night. I've done it again, Chris. The last half hour is like evil hour on the Ralph Bailey Show. It's that evil half hour that Ralph always ends on a negative. Does that mean I'm just a negative, pessimistic human being? I don't know. I don't know, Godfather. I don't know. I don't know what to do. You can act like a man. What's the matter with you? Hollywood Pinocchio? This is how you grow up? Oh, I don't know what to do, Godfather. I don't know what to do. What is that nonsense? I want you to go out and eat, and I'll take care of it. No chance, Godfather. Listen, I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. Now go out and enjoy yourself. And then he goes out and sings to Connie. Ah, what a great motion picture. Tomorrow's a Wednesday. The folks from Bakersfield College will be joining us. We'll be talking with, among others, Dr. Cesar Jimenez and the Van Alstynes. Make their bi-monthly appearance. Owner-operators of Adaptive Networks, Jennifer and Ryan. And if it's Wednesday, it's Howard Marcus at 4 o'clock. All that coming up. In the meantime, we're going to take our final break. Keep it locked. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. If you have not tuned in to Scott Jennings, I strongly suggest you do. He is outstanding. So keep it locked on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1180 KERN, where we stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. It's the JR Show.
So the district attorney's office wants to get rid of a reputable nonprofit for whatever reason, only to bring in a nonprofit that on the surface at least appears to be unqualified to do the job. Oh, and not only that, charge us $75,000 a year for the next 2 years for something that used to cost us $0. Yeah, that makes sense.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic.
Whenever you're ready.
Three, two. So Tiger Woods announced that he's going away for a while. He's going to go seek treatment. So any discussion of the Masters or even really playing on the senior tour is out for now. He's got to rebuild once again his, his perception of the public. It's not a problem to take pain pills, given the fact that the man has had 27 surgeries. But the fact that he's speeding all across the country, all these accidents, the one in Palos Verdes, the one coming down his damn driveway, all were due to speeds. He was doing 65 in a 30-mile-per-hour zone in this last accident. You clean that up just a little bit. I don't know what that was about. 3, 2, it's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Wednesday TRBS. Well, if it's Wednesday, Howard Marcus will be here at 4 o'clock, plus Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne, owner-operators of Adaptive Networks, and Dr. Cesar Jimenez from Bakersfield College joins us as well. All that and me at 3. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'll see you at 3.
My taxes pile up. I had gotten many threatening letters. The one that said they were going to try and take my property was probably the scariest. When I found out that I owed close to $300,000, I was in total shock. It was a bad situation. I didn't know what to do.
Then Gail found tax relief advocates.
When TRA told me I was only going to owe $368, I just was in total disbelief.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Gail did and call TRA for a consultation.
I was so blessed with TRA.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-544-7357. 800-544-7357. That's 800-544-7357.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Outside. Dancing in the moonlight,
Everybody's feeling lonely. So here's some random audio I clipped last night. This is one of the greatest producers, directors, and even screenwriters. Not Mario Puzo. Francis Ford Coppola is a pretty damn good screenwriter. He helped write The Conversation, a great movie with Gene Hackman, and obviously he helped Mario Puzo with Godfather 2. He kind of helped out with the script on 1, but Puzo did most of that. But it was Coppola's idea to go back and basically make the sequel a prequel by bringing in Robert De Niro as a young Don Corleone. But he's talking about how difficult it was to cast because the Paramount Studios did not want Al Pacino as Michael, and they certainly didn't want Marlon Brando as Don Corleone.
Francis, Marlon Brando will not appear in this movie, and I forbid you, as president of Paramount, to bring his name up again. And then they said to me, finally, okay, we give you 3 conditions for Brando. 1, he does the film for free. 2, he does a screen test. And 3, he puts up $1 million bond. So if any misbehaving on the set happens, he is underwritten. I talked to Brando. I didn't know Brando. So we went to his house there on Mulholland Drive. And sure enough, there's a rumble and he's going to come. And the door opens and out walks this beautiful man with long blonde hair and a Japanese robe. And I'm shooting him. And I said, good morning. And he took his hair and he did his hair up. He had very long blonde hair. And he took shoe polish and he made it black. And then he put on a shirt. And then he said he should look like a bulldog. And he took some Kleenex and he put the Kleenex, like that. And then he started like acting, but not saying anything. And it was in his house. And when I'm shooting, and we're all shooting, and he starts going, so at any rate, it was a miraculous transformation. It was the birth of that character. I went to New York with the videotape, and I said to Sarah, does Mr. Bluthorn have 5 minutes that I could show him something? And he comes out and he looks, I turn on the video thing, and there is this guy with blonde hair, and Charlie Bluthorn said, no, absolutely, that's incredible. And when he said that's incredible, and it was incredible, I knew that if Charlie Bluthorn okayed it, then he would okay. And that's how he got the part. They forgot about the $1 million bond, but they didn't hardly pay him anything. They paid him like $120,000.
Which was insane money at that time. I mean, on the low end, for a major motion picture for 6, 7, 8 months work, that's unheard of. Another fact that you should know is that Marlon Brando didn't believe in knowing his lines. That in most of the scenes, particularly the office scene that starts the motion picture, Robert Duvall and James Caan had to wear cue cards on their bodies, and there were cue cards set up in the office. And many times, if you go back and watch Godfather again, where the young funeral director is asking for retribution for his daughter, and Brando's playing with the cat, you often see him brilliantly, and you think it's just acting, where he kind of looks off, and he's actually reading his lines. They literally had them posted all throughout the office, where he would like play with the cat and then look over it, side of the desk, and that's where his lines were, and he'd read it and then come back, and it looked as if he was, thinking about what he was going to do for this little funeral guy. It's just some of the stories and how they wanted like Robert Redford or Ryan O'Neal to play Michael, because in Northern Italy, like Verna Lisa, for the old folks, remember Verna Lisa. And if you don't know Verna Lisa, look her up. She's a gorgeous Northern Italian woman. She's blonde hair. And many Northern Italians do have blonde hair, and that's how they were going to play that off. It just wouldn't have worked. It just wouldn't have worked. Michael looked Sicilian. He looked the part. And, how would Robert Redford have looked getting punched in the face, or Ryan O'Neal? You know what I'm saying? It just wouldn't work. And another little fact, Kelly from St. Louis. What's this about? Hey, buddy, how are you? You coming here to golf anytime this year? This is my cousin's new song, and I feel it needs to be heard in Baco. Can you make that happen at any of the country stations? Pretty please. So you like that? This is typical women. She's like, are you coming to St. Louis to visit me? Oh, by the way, I need a favor. I mean, she's a married woman. It's not a that kind of thing. But this is the girl that I hung out with when I went to St. Louis. We worked together. She was an intern at Clear Channel, but she was so dynamic that she stood out. We became really good friends. It was never romantic. In fact, I think she was kind of messing with somebody at the station. I could be wrong about that. But, she did mess with at ASU was Pat Perez, who is now, I believe, on the senior tour. He was a pretty decent PGA player. I don't know why I'm telling Kelly's all her business. And then she's led an interesting life. I've told this story before. She married a deaf man. And for whatever reason, that's all we talked about the night we were in the booth at St. Louis. I was fascinated by that. I was like, that didn't make it tough to communicate. And then, my mind, I was like, what is it like having sex with a deaf man? You know what I mean? I mean, does he... because there's a certain amount of communication in sex, Who's your daddy? No, I'm kidding. I don't know. And then now she remarried. She's very happily married, and she lives in St. Louis. She's a teacher. She's outstanding. And she hung with me. She turned me on to the bar next door to Busch Stadium, and we went to the ball game and hung out in Nick Ragone's suite, where we hung out with Ozzie Newsome.
Ozymandias?
The Great Wizard of Oz.
Dang it.
That's about all I got.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Did I say the tight end? Did I say Newsome?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I got. But we're talking about Ozzie Smith, who was a longtime Cardinal, still lives in St. Louis. And we got to hang with him. And it was just, he couldn't have been nicer. And I told him how much I hated him because he hit a home run off Tom Niedenfuhr and kicked us out of the playoffs one year. But he was an extremely nice man. The highlight of the evening, though, is when we were leaving. They have their own bar and a bartender in the suite. And as we were leaving, it's an old black woman. And as we were leaving, she turned to me and she said, baby, thank you, because you were the only one in here that tipped me. And I know there were some millionaires in here. Because Ozzy is a millionaire. Didn't tip her. And they had, dude, it was so cool. They had a taco stand in the bar, in the suite, where you made your own tacos. And I've never seen a bartender in a suite. Like, maybe you can load it up with booze, but I've never seen a personal bartender in a suite. It was sweet. It really was. She wants me to turn her song onto a country station. Her cousin has some country song. Should I play it?
You can.
Why don't we play it? Will it play, do you think? Let's see if I can play this. Hell of a hat.
So when that southbound slang goes out, you're not like trash on the street. You can tell me, son, what's country from your frat blue pop star scene. But I'd rather feel some soul than hear more whiskey glass to shake.
It's not bad, actually.
That's pretty good.
I'm going to tell her. Hell yeah, I'll get him going. All I'm asking is 12%. That's all. If it goes big, 12% right off the top, y'all won't even miss that. You kidding me? Shoot. I should patent it or something or get the copyrights. Want to thank Teresa Goldner. In the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. I will rap to you tomorrow.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Supreme Court has ruled against the law banning conversion therapy for LGBT kids in Colorado. Correspondent Marcela Sanchez has more.
Colorado is one of about 24 states that banned the discredited practice. In an 8-1 decision, the High Court majority sided with a Christian counselor who argues the law banning talk therapy violates the First Amendment. Counselor Kaylee Childs, with support from the Trump administration, says the law wrongly bars her from offering voluntary faith-based therapy for kids. But Colorado says its law simply stops the practice from using therapy to try to convert LGBTQ plus people to heterosexuality. The justices agreed the law raises free speech concerns and sent it back to a lower court to decide if it meets a legal standard. Few laws pass. Marcela Sanchez, Washington.